Chapter 535. Rumble. A few thick branches and leaves swept across the sky like black chains, sealing everything and transforming into a monstrous giant net, shrouding towards Ling Xiao. Yu slammed his palm across the sky and a terrifying demonic light gushed out, causing the void to tremble violently. It suddenly pressed down on the old goat and Taoist Wuliang. "You Tianyi, you're stalling for time, but I'm doing the same. Your mistake is that you shouldn't have targeted me." Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of cold sharpness. His body instantly emitted a mysterious and terrifying aura. Rumble. The goddess stone flew out from the longevity ring and instantly exploded in midair. Next, a black-colored scroll flew out from it, flowing with a mysterious light. Unfurling the scroll, countless runes spread out and a resplendent divine light sprayed out from it. It appeared majestic and quaint. Next, two ancient and mysterious characters flashed out from the surface of the scroll. Demon Seal. The scroll flew into the void and endless brilliance sprinkled down like rain. It was mysterious and unfathomable, containing an aura that could seal the heavens and destroy everything. When Ling Xiao was talking to Yu, he had secretly cut open the goddess stone and saw the demon seal scroll in the goddess stone. Ling Xiao instantly understood the aura that could seal everything. It turned out that the demon seal scroll was a supreme treasure that could restrain the extraterrestrial demons and the illusory demonic ancient tree. Rumble. The aura emitted by the demon seal scroll was incomparably mysterious. The branches of the illusory demonic ancient tree that were reaching toward Ling Xiao seemed to have been electrocuted and retracted instantly. Moreover, Ling Xiao could feel a wave of fear and dread from the illusory demonic ancient tree. The moment the demon seal scroll appeared, the entire Divine King Palace began to tremble. Strands of mysterious light spread out, and endless divine chains of order rushed out from the Divine King Palace. All of them gathered on the demon seal scroll and enveloped the illusory demonic ancient tree below. Crack. Lightning flashed across the sky, blazing and dazzling. Large amounts of demonic aura turned into nothingness. A powerful force that caused the heavens and earth to tremble pressed down. Endless divine light drowned the illusory demonic ancient tree. What? How can you mobilize the power of the Divine King Palace? This is impossible. Yui's expression changed drastically while a trace of extreme terror appeared in his eyes. The energy that the illusory fiend tree lent him had actually instantly collapsed, and his cultivation fell back to the 9th rank of the monarch realm. Who told you to be arrogant in front of me? I'll kill you, you son of a bitch. The old goat's eyes lit up. Taking advantage of the moment when Yui was absent-minded, it instantly moved behind Yui and kicked his head with its hoof. It was as if a star had smashed into his head. His body trembled, and he almost fell from the sky. Boom. Taoist Wuliang chuckled and slapped Yui's face. Yui was immediately sent flying and smashed onto the ground. Rumble. The demon sealing scroll emitted boundless divine light. Even the wordless heavenly scripture rushed out of Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness. The two supreme treasures drew upon the power of the godly king palace to suppress the phantom demon tree. The phantom demon tree struggled violently. Its huge and thick branches were like black dragons that swept in all directions. Waves of powerful illusory energy rushed towards Ling Xiao, and it contained an extremely sharp spiritual shock wave. However, Ling Xiao had the wordless heavenly scripture to protect him, and the attacks of the phantom demon tree were all blocked. Countless divine chains of order enveloped the phantom demon tree, but it was still struggling desperately. It was unwilling to be sealed again. The genius disciples that were bound by the phantom demon tree fell down. They slowly woke up after the illusory energy was broken by the wordless heavenly scripture. What happened? Where's my great yin-yang scripture? What? How dare you take over my body? Get lost. What kind of monster is this? My God, how can there be such a tall demonic tree? It's definitely a demonic tree. Many genius disciples turned pale with fright. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. Some of them instantly realized that the divine souls of the extraterrestrial demons were trying to take over their bodies, and they immediately went all out. Although most of the divine souls of the extraterrestrial demons were comparable to supremes, they had been sealed for 1,000,000 years, and their power was depleted. They were no match for these genius disciples. Otherwise, The phantom demon tree wouldn't have needed to pull these people into the illusory realm before they could take over their bodies. Celestial Venerable Nan, Yueshan, Zhao Ritian, and the others were the first to kill the divine souls that wanted to take over their bodies. However, some of the genius disciples weren't so lucky. Some of the divine souls saw that they couldn't take over their bodies, and they self-destructed in the sea of consciousness, taking the genius disciples with them. Everyone, Yue has been taken over by the extraterrestrial demons. There's no supreme inheritance here, it's a trap. Everyone leave this place quickly. I'll hold the phantom demon tree back. Ling Xiao quickly said to the crowd. What? Yue has been taken over by the extraterrestrial demons? This news was like a sudden clap of thunder, and everyone was stunned. However, when they saw Yue, who was fighting with the old goat and Wuliang spiritual master in the distance, and the demonic aura around him, and the cold aura was exactly the same as that of the phantom demon tree, they understood even though they still had many doubts. Bastard, how dare you lie to us? I already knew that there was something wrong with Yue. Everyone, attack together and kill him. Kill Yue and avenge our dead junior brother. Everyone looked at Yue in the distance, and their eyes were filled with hatred. Although the illusory realm was broken, the self-destruction of the divine souls of the extraterrestrial demons still led to the death of hundreds of genius experts. It could be said that there were heavy casualties. Everyone's eyes turned red, and they wanted to rush up and kill Yue. Ling Xiao, you ruined my plans. I won't let you go. Just you wait. Yue suddenly looked at Ling Xiao, and his eyes were filled with hatred and anger. He knew that he couldn't stay here for long, and he wasn't a match for everyone alone. Boom. A powerful aura exploded from Yue's body, and he instantly broke free from the encirclement of the old goat and Wuliang spiritual master. He endured a blow from the two of them, and rushed out of the God King Palace without looking back. Chase, we must kill Yue. Everyone leave quickly. We can't let him go. Yue has been taken over by the extraterrestrial demons, so wouldn't the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon become a demon's nest? Quickly go and report to the elders. We can't let the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon go. Many genius disciples pondered for a moment, and their expressions became extremely serious. This matter was too serious, and could possibly shake the whole War God continent. Who knew how many people in the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon had been taken over by the extraterrestrial demons? These people were the source of disaster, and had to be eliminated. Thank you, Brother Ling, for saving my life. I can't thank you enough. In the future, Brother Ling will be my benefactor when you come to our Four Symbols sect. Thank you, Brother Ling. Brother Ling, be careful. We'll leave first. Everyone looked at Ling Xiao with an extremely grateful expression. If Ling Xiao hadn't broken the illusory realm just now, they probably wouldn't even know that they had been taken over. Everyone was grateful to Ling Xiao from the bottom of their hearts. At this moment, Ling Xiao was holding the demon sealing scroll and the wordless heavenly book, and mobilizing the power of the God King Palace to seal the illusory demon ancient tree. The wordless heavenly book, especially, seemed to have turned into a huge vortex, and was wantonly devouring the power of the illusory demon ancient tree. Chapter 536. Second Uncle. He's in the limelight again. Zhao Ritian looked at Ling Xiao with displeasure. Cut the crap and let's go. Even I was almost tricked just now. Ling Xiao has the wordless heavenly book? No wonder. Ritian, you must find a way to kill Ling Xiao in the future, and snatch the wordless heavenly book. Second Uncle's voice rang in Zhao Ritian's heart with excitement. Wordless heavenly book? What kind of treasure is that? Zhao Ritian's eyes lit up. The wordless heavenly book is a supreme treasure left behind by the Scarlet Dragon War God. I didn't expect it to fall into Ling Xiao's hands. No wonder he's so demonic. Let's leave this place first and think of a plan. Second Uncle said. The Scarlet Dragon War God's treasure? Did Ling Xiao obtain the inheritance of the Scarlet Dragon War God? Zhao Ritian was stunned, and his eyes were filled with jealousy. He, Zhao Ritian, was a genius and had the Sun Saint body. How could the Scarlet Dragon War God be interested in Ling Xiao instead of him? Zhao Ritian was depressed, but he listened to Second Uncle's words and left the Deity King's palace. The illusory demonic ancient tree was too strange. Even second uncle was wary of it. If Ling Xiao couldn't seal the illusory demonic ancient tree, he would be in deep trouble. Ling Xiao, be careful. The moon goddess looked at Ling Xiao worriedly. Finally, under Ling Xiao's urging, she turned around and left. South Celestial Venerable also saw the wordless heavenly book in the void, and his eyes were filled with shock and greed. The wordless heavenly book is indeed with you. South Celestial Venerable looked at Ling Xiao with cold murderous intent. Ling Xiao's heart sank. South Celestial Venerable knew about the wordless heavenly book? Ling Xiao, I'll wait for you outside. Don't forget about our life and death battle. If you die, the wordless heavenly book will be mine. Ha ha ha. South Celestial Venerable sneered, and turned into a ray of light as he left the deity king's palace. How does he know about the wordless heavenly book? Does he have something left behind by the Scarlet Dragon War God? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed coldly. When Celestial Venerable Nan recognized the wordless heavenly book, he wanted to strike first and kill Celestial Venerable Nan first. Unfortunately, both the wordless heavenly book and the demon sealing scroll were suppressing the phantom fiend ancient tree. South Celestial Venerable seemed to know that this place was disadvantageous to him, and left decisively. Ling Xiao, Yu Yui's methods are strange. He escaped with all his might. Can you seal this illusory fiend ancient tree? The old goat and Taoist Wuliang came to Ling Xiao's side with worry in their eyes. The illusory demonic ancient tree in its growth period was comparable to a supreme being powerhouse. Even with the demon sealing scroll and the wordless heavenly tome, the wordless heavenly tome was still struggling violently, unwilling to be sealed. Old goat, let's use the heaven-devouring secret skill together, and devour this phantom fiend ancient tree. This illusion fiend ancient tree is much stronger than the one in the secret realm of longevity. If you can completely devour it, you might be able to completely heal your Dao injury. A hint of madness appeared in Ling Xiao's eyes. Devour the illusory fiend ancient tree? The old goat was stunned, but his eyes lit up immediately. Especially when he thought of the illusory fiend ancient tree's essence, the heart of the illusory fiend ancient tree, he was extremely excited. Motherfucker! The old goat said viciously. Instantly, a powerful aura emanated from his body. The King Heaven Devourer cauldron flew out of his body, emitting a dazzling golden light, and collided with the illusory fiend ancient tree. Rumble! The heaven-devouring golden lotus flew out from Ling Xiao's body, and expanded to 1,000 feet in size. Golden lotus flowers bloomed, thousands of auspicious colors, and tens of thousands of rays of light, holy and mysterious. The golden vortex began to move wildly, continuously devouring the black mist. Moreover, when the heaven-devouring golden lotus came in contact with the illusory fiend ancient tree's branches, the thick dragon-like branches instantly withered, as though all of its power had been drained away. Ah! Crazy enough. Count me in. Taoist Thoughtless said, his eyes shining brightly. At the same time, a celestial appeared behind him, with a sun and a moon above his head and primal chaos beneath his feet. The celestial began to speak in ancient, cryptic language. His voice was like a great bell, as though he were expounding upon the most profound truths of heaven and earth. Then, a powerful gravitational force erupted, and the towering devil energy of the illusory fiend ancient tree surged toward the celestial. The pure devil chi was refined and eventually turned into a powerful force, becoming a part of Taoist Wuliang's cultivation. His aura was getting stronger and stronger, and there was a mysterious aura about him that seemed to be about to ascend. The wordless Heaven Devourer cauldron, the Heaven Devourer golden lotus, and the celestial behind Taoist Thoughtless became 4 terrifying vortexes that began to devour the power of the illusory fiend ancient tree. Ruiyuambul. The illusion demon ancient tree seemed to have sensed the threat of death as well. It struggled with all its might. The surrounding void was destroyed as cracks ran through the sky. The terrifying power wanted to destroy everything. Unfortunately, the power of the devil sealing scroll was too strong, and combined with the sealing power of the God King Palace, it was impossible for the illusory fiend ancient tree to escape. Crack! A huge hole was blasted open in the trunk of the illusory fiend ancient tree. The divine souls of the otherworldly demons roared in anger as they attempted to flee, but the wordless heavenly scroll crushed them, and turned them into pure primordial spirit energy that fused with Ling Xiao's primordial spirit. The power of the illusory demon ancient tree was too majestic. It was comparable to the illusory demon ancient tree of a supreme being expert, but the power it contained was 10 times or even 100 times more than a supreme being expert. Even a paragon might explode if they were to recklessly devour so much energy. Ling Xiao's cultivation base instantly broke through to the 10th level of the noble realm. Violent energy spread out, and Ling Xiao's cultivation base seemed to be on the verge of breaking through to the monarch realm. No, I can't break through like this. A trace of clarity appeared in Ling Xiao's eyes. He had only cultivated the 10 supreme divine abilities, and while that was already considered earth-shattering for ordinary people, it was still insufficient. In fact, it couldn't even compare to what Ling Xiao had accumulated in his previous life. Rashly breaking through would only make Ling Xiao's future path even more difficult. Ling Xiao forcibly suppressed the fluctuations of his breakthrough, causing his cultivation base to remain at the 10th level of the noble realm. The boundless energy had all fused into Ling Xiao's body. Since that's the case, I'll break through to the celestial dragon body in one go. A trace of madness appeared in Ling Xiao's eyes. Chapter 537. The body of the heavenly dragon was invincible in the monarch realm. If he broke through to the body of the heavenly dragon, then Ling Xiao would have the strength to fight and even crush those peerless geniuses in the monarch realm, or even half-step supremes. Ling Xiao had already gathered the true dragon pearl and the various herbs he needed. Now was the best time to break through. Ling Xiao sat cross-legged in the void. Even without his control, the demon sealing scroll and wordless heavenly book were enough to suppress the illusory demon ancient tree. Moreover, as it continued to devour the illusory demon ancient tree's energy, the mysterious aura emitted by the wordless heavenly book grew stronger and stronger, and it faintly caused the void to tremble. The body of the heavenly dragon, the void chi, the might of the heavens, the Tao of the heavens, the path of the heavens, the power of the heavens shattering the void. The technique of the body of the heavenly dragon slowly flowed in Ling Xiao's heart, and a mysterious aura enveloped him. Ling Xiao exuded a powerful dragon aura. As he operated the ancestral dragon's secret skill, a huge golden dragon appeared behind him. It soared into the sky, mysterious and ancient. The surrounding space was filled with endless space. With a roar, it caused the heavens and earth to tremble. The many clouds that Ling Xiao had prepared were instantly swept up by the true devouring flame, and turned into a ball of sparkling liquid that wrapped around Ling Xiao. Sparkling, translucent, flawless, and resplendent. Ling Xiao's body changed within the divine light and slowly seemed to merge into one with the huge golden dragon. Rumble. Like a tsunami, the blood in Ling Xiao's body began to surge. A powerful and mysterious force awakened in his bloodline, as if it was about to break free from some kind of restraint. But at the last moment, a mysterious chain emerged from his bloodline and completely bound him. Is there still no way to awaken the power of my bloodline? Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of surprise. He originally thought that the power of his bloodline would be awakened when he broke through to the body of the heavenly dragon. But now it seemed that the power of his bloodline was far stronger than he had imagined. His current strength was far from enough to support the awakening of his bloodline. Perhaps it would only be possible after he broke through to the body of the true dragon. Since that's the case, let's break through to the body of the heavenly dragon first. Ling Xiao secretly thought in his heart. The real dragon ball instantly appeared, then turned into a golden stream of light, and was instantly wrapped up by the sky-devouring golden lotus. Ling Xiao circulated the ancestral dragon's secret skill cultivation method, and began to slowly refine the true dragon pearl. Rumble. The moment it came into contact with the ancestral dragon's secret technique, the true dragon pearl began to tremble. Then it shone brightly. The multicolored light was dazzling, as if it was going to break through the clouds. There was a kind of dragon might that made the sky tremble. The might of the true dragon caused the universe to change color. The true dragon pearl was left behind by a supreme being of the dragon race. It contained the essence of the supreme being's body, and even contained martial arts inheritance. It was mysterious and unfathomable. More importantly, the true dragon bloodline contained within could help Ling Xiao break through to the heavenly dragon body. Boom. Under the refinement of the sky-devouring golden lotus, the real dragon pearl exploded with a loud bang. Resplendent rays of light illuminated the heavens and the earth. The real dragon pearl instantly transformed into a 10,000 zhang long true dragon, coiling above the void and enveloping Ling Xiao. Roar! The dragon's might was vast, ancient, and mysterious. It was like a divine dragon that wanted to split the heavens and earth apart, shatter the void, and lead to the mysterious and eternal path to the divine realm. Ling Xiao's body instantly became like an immemorial divine mountain. His body emitted a sparkling luster, and there was a faint power of law pervading the air. It made Ling Xiao's body stronger and more terrifying. If the flood dragon body, earth dragon body, and flying dragon body were the most basic stages of the ancestral dragon's secret technique, then the heavenly dragon body began to let Ling Xiao possess the power of the dragon race. He began to possess unparalleled offensive power. The power of the heavenly dragon, the heavenly law embodiment technique, the ability to burn rivers and overturn seas. It possessed the greatest divine ability. Ling Xiao's body seemed to be undergoing some kind of transformation. His body shone with golden light, and began to be covered with a layer of golden dragon scales. That was caused by the gathering of the vast energy of the true dragon pearl. It made Ling Xiao's body seem to be transforming into that of the dragon race. At the same time, the divine ability of the martial way contained within the true dragon pearl was vast and mysterious. As the fragments of law were absorbed by him, the power of Ling Xiao's primordial spirit also began to skyrocket. This guy is going to break through again. The old goat pursed his lips. The dragon aura emitted from Ling Xiao's body was more than 100 times stronger than before. If Ling Xiao had not maintained his human form, the old goat would have thought that Ling Xiao had already turned into a real dragon. This is really a stroke of luck. Even without the inheritance of the Supreme Being, the power of the illusory demonic ancient tree is enough for us to recover a lot. Taoist Wu Yang's eyes also revealed a faint light. The commotion caused by Ling Xiao's breakthrough was so great that it woke the two of them up. After glancing at Ling Xiao, the two of them continued to devour the power of the illusory demonic ancient tree to strengthen their cultivation. Especially the old goat. His originally heavy Dao injury began to heal at a speed visible to the naked eye. Just as Ling Xiao and the other two were devouring the power of the illusory demonic ancient tree to break through, outside the Empyrean stone, there was an uproar. Yu Yu is not the crown prince of the ancient kingdom of dragon. He has been possessed by the extraterrestrial demon. Capture him. The crowd rushed out of the Empyrean stone. When they saw Yu Yu, who had rushed out earlier than them, their eyes instantly turned bloodshot. They pointed at Yu Yu and shouted, "What?" The words of the many geniuses were like a sudden clap of thunder that stunned everyone. Yu Yu was possessed by the extraterrestrial demon. There is no inheritance of the Supreme Being in the Empyrean stone. There is a illusory demonic ancient tree sealed inside. There are many souls of the extraterrestrial demons on it. Yu Yu lured us into the Empyrean stone, so that the souls of the extraterrestrial demons could possess us. He deserves to die. A young genius in a black robe quickly recounted what happened in the Empyrean stone to the crowd. Immediately after, South Celestial Venerable, Moon Deity, Greedy Wolf Starchild, and the others confirmed this matter. What? Capture him. The old monsters of the various sects were both shocked and furious. This heavenly god conference was actually Yu Yu's scheme. Almost all the geniuses were captured in one fell swoop. Rumble. At this moment, a cold and vast aura rose from the center of the imperial city. It looked down on all directions and dominated the world. The terrifying fluctuation made everyone tremble in fear. The Azure Dragon Human Sovereign. Someone exclaimed. His eyes were filled with fear. Chapter 538. A terrifying figure soared into the sky and stood in the void. The great Tao precepts and divine chains of order intertwined around him. Endless lightning bolts enveloped him, causing the entire heavenly god city to tremble. Your Majesty, I've disappointed you. Yu Yu immediately flew over and knelt down respectfully when he saw the figure. His eyes were filled with fear. You have indeed disappointed me. You're just a bunch of ants. Since I can't subdue you, I'll just kill all of you." A cold and emotionless voice resounded in the void. It was as terrifying as thunder. Everyone's face instantly turned pale. They instantly understood that the Azure Dragon Human Emperor had probably been possessed by the extraterritorial demon. A supreme being expert had dominated the world since ancient times. If he wanted to kill, he could wipe out the entire heavenly god city in an instant. Even a half-step supreme being was just a slightly bigger ant in front of a supreme being expert. One wouldn't know the terror of this realm unless one was a supreme being. Rumble. The Azure Dragon Human Emperor was shrouded in endless lightning. His face couldn't be seen clearly, but his killing intent was as vast as the sea. He slammed his palm down on everyone. It was as if the sky had collapsed, and the world fell into endless darkness. In the face of this palm, even the eyes of those old monsters were filled with despair. "Stop!" At this moment, a cold voice resounded. The void was torn apart, and a middle-aged man in a purple robe stepped out. His aura wasn't any weaker than the Azure Dragon Human Emperor's as he met the attack with his palm. Crack. The two palms collided, and a terrifying divine light storm swept out in all directions. The surrounding palaces instantly exploded, the ground cracked, and the void shattered. A few people who were closer were instantly torn to pieces by the divine power. Everyone felt as if they were struck by lightning. Their faces paled, and they suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. "Father is here." South Celestial Venerable was stunned. His eyes revealed a trace of pleasant surprise. He had almost been killed by the Azure Dragon Human Emperor. He didn't expect South Tianjue to return at the crucial moment. South Celestial Venerable felt extremely fortunate. Fortunately, he had found out about the Li family's remnants and informed his father in time. Otherwise, everyone would have died today. "South Heavenju, why are you here?" A cold light flashed in Yu Renquang's eyes as he spoke indifferently. Right now, Nan Tianjue should be in the outer space, comprehending the heavenly heart and heavenly Tao. Like the other supreme being experts, he should be wholeheartedly trying to break through to the God Spirit realm. Why would he return to the War God continent? If I hadn't come back, I wouldn't have thought that the human emperor of Azure Dragon would be possessed by an extraterrestrial devil. Let go of my Nantian family. You can kill the others if you want. It has nothing to do with my Nantian family. Nan Tianjue looked at the Azure Dragon human sovereign opposite him with a cold glint in his eyes. "What? Is Supreme South Heaven giving up on us?" When the crowd below heard Nan Tianjue's words, they all revealed shocked and angry expressions. The extraterritorial demons were the enemy of everyone on the War God continent. Everyone should kill them after seeing them. However, Nan Tianjue only cared about the Nantian family and wanted to compromise with the Azure Dragon Human Emperor. Haha. Nan Tianju, you think too highly of yourself. Everyone here has to die today, including you. The Azure Dragon Human Emperor sneered as black demonic aura rose from his body. In an instant, an even more terrifying aura exploded. There was a faint fluctuation that could shatter the sky. The aura was so terrifying that it suppressed Nan Tianjue instantly. Nan Tianjue's eyes revealed an extremely solemn expression. "Damn it! You're about to take that step? Yu Renquang, since you're courting death, don't blame me for being impolite," Nan Tianjue said coldly as his eyes revealed a tinge of cold murderous intent. "Brother Star Palace, make your move," Nan Tianjue said slowly to the void in the distance. Suddenly, there was a flash of light in the void. Resplendent starlight spread out, holy and mysterious. A young man in white walked out. He had an extraordinary temperament and was untainted by dust. In his eyes, there were stars flickering. He was extremely mysterious. Star Palace's sect master, Star Emperor. Looking at the young man in white, the Azure Dragon Human Emperor's eyes flickered and revealed a solemn expression. If Nan Tianjue was alone, he was confident that he could deal with him. However, with the addition of Star Palace's sect master, Star Emperor, it would be extremely difficult. Star Emperor was unfathomable. It was said that he had lived for almost 10,000 years. Although he looked young, he was older than the Azure Dragon Human Emperor. Extraterrestrial demon. Everyone has the right to kill him. Kill him. After the young man in white appeared, he glanced at the Azure Dragon Human Emperor coldly and instantly attacked. Rumble. Behind him, there seemed to be a divine picture unfolding. Endless starlight sprinkled down, mysterious and unfathomable. Huge stars rotated, carrying unparalleled divine power. They flew across the sky and collided with the Azure Dragon Human Sovereign. Star Map. The Azure Dragon Human Emperor's eyes revealed an extremely fearful expression. He had not expected Star Emperor to bring the Star Map with him. The Star Map was not an ordinary supreme weapon. It was the legendary supreme divine weapon of the divine world. Swoosh. The Azure Dragon Human Emperor knew that he would not be able to win against Nantinjua and Star Emperor, let alone the Star Map in Star Emperor's hands. He suddenly had the intention to retreat. He immediately grabbed Yu Yui and transformed into a streamer that plunged towards the heavens. Where do you think you're going? Killing intent flashed across the eyes of Nantinjua and Star Emperor. Since they had decided to kill the Azure Dragon Human Emperor, they would not let him escape. The two of them immediately soared into the sky and chased after the Azure Dragon Human Emperor. Rumble. Above the firmament, thunder filled the air and lightning intertwined. Terrifying divine light crisscrossed. However, the sound was getting weaker and weaker until it finally disappeared. The battle between the three supreme beings was far away from Heavenly God City. No one knew where it had gone. Only then did everyone heave a sigh of relief. Their eyes were filled with incomparable shock. Supreme beings were elusive and rarely seen. Almost all of them were comprehending Tao in the extraterrestrial star world. They rarely came to the God of War continent. Today 3 supreme beings had appeared. It was a pity that they would not be able to witness the battle between the 3 supreme beings. Everyone, we don't know how many people have been possessed by the extraterrestrial demon in the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon. In my opinion, we should capture all the members of the royal family and interrogate them. We should even search their souls. We should only release them after we confirm that they have not been possessed. The greedy wolf star glanced at the crowd and said sinisterly, "That's right. I support Brother Greedy Wolf's opinion. The ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon almost killed all of us in the Heavenly God Stone. They must pay the price." Nantinjua sneered. Yu Yui and the Human Emperor have been possessed. This is something that no one would have expected. It has nothing to do with the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon. The members of our royal family are innocent. Don't slander us. A great elder of the Rain clan said furiously. Chapter 539. That's right, big brother. Yu Yu was possessed by the extraterrestrial demon. We didn't know about it at all. We will settle this matter ourselves. It has nothing to do with you. The second prince's face was also very ugly. He was incomparably pale, having suffered a huge blow. He didn't expect the Heavenly God Conference to turn out like this. The news of Yu Renquang and Yu Yu being possessed by the extraterrestrial demon would soon spread throughout the War God continent. It would be a huge blow to the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon. South Sky Sword glanced at Yu Wanwan, his eyes filled with greed and lust. He sneered and said, "Killing the extraterrestrial demon is everyone's responsibility. No one knows how many people from the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon have been possessed. You all must be checked. Ninth Princess, don't worry. I will personally check you, hee. Shameless." Yu Wanwan's eyes turned cold. Her beautiful face was filled with coldness. "Everyone from the Nantian family, listen up. Surround the God Stone. When Ling Xiao comes out, capture him. Dead or alive." South Celestial Venerable didn't look at Yu Wanwan and the others. He stared at the God Stone for a while and ordered. Yes. The experts from the Nantian family were stunned, but they all faithfully carried out South Celestial Venerable's order and surrounded the God Stone in an instant. "South Celestial Venerable, what are you doing? If Ling Xiao didn't save you, you would have been possessed by the extraterrestrial demon. You are biting the hand that feeds you." Moon Deity's eyes revealed a trace of coldness as she said coldly, "That's right, South Celestial Venerable. Even if you don't appreciate Ling Xiao saving your life, you don't have to bite the hand that feeds you. The Sword God Pavilion won't let anyone touch Ling Xiao. The successor of the Sword God Pavilion also stood out. His eyes revealed a trace of coldness as sword intent surged around him. It was vast and majestic. That's right, South Celestial Venerable. You and Ling Xiao had a life and death battle, but Ling Xiao saved your life and our lives. Many genius disciples also stood out and glared at the people of the Nantian family. Their eyes were filled with anger. Everyone, it's not that I want to target Ling Xiao. I suspect that Ling Xiao has been possessed by the extraterrestrial demon. South Celestial Venerable said indifferently. Nonsense. The princess of the ancient kingdom of Vermilion Bird could not help but smirk coldly and said, if Ling Xiao had been possessed by the extraterrestrial demons, why would he have taken on the illusory demon tree and saved us? South Celestial Venerable. Even if you want to slander me, can you please find a more reliable reason? The successor of the Sword God Pavilion said coldly. That's right, South Celestial Venerable. I respect you as a prodigy, but don't talk nonsense without evidence. Of course I have evidence. South Celestial Venerable sneered. Think about it carefully, why are we all trapped by the illusion devil ancient tree? But Ling Xiao is completely fine? Moreover, the supreme treasure he used to suppress the illusory demon ancient tree is the demon sealing scroll left behind by the Scarlet Dragon War God. The God King's inheritance in the Heavenly God Stone must have been obtained by Ling Xiao, otherwise he wouldn't have the demon sealing scroll. South Celestial Venerable's words stunned everyone, especially those geniuses. The inheritance of Scarlet Dragon War God. It wasn't an exaggeration to call it the #1 inheritance in the War God continent. Moreover, it was strange that Ling Xiao wasn't trapped by the illusion devil ancient tree. They couldn't figure it out. What a joke! Ling Xiao obtained the inheritance of Scarlet Dragon War God and the demon sealing scroll by chance. What does this have to do with being possessed by the extraterritorial demon? Moon Deity sneered. Of course it's related. South Celestial Venerable said coldly. Do you know how powerful the illusion devil ancient tree is? That's an ancient illusory demonic tree in its growth period. Although the demon sealing scroll is powerful, it's still only a secret treasure. At most, it can trap an ancient illusory demonic tree in its infancy. As for an ancient illusory demonic tree in its growth period, even supremes would suffer grievances. How could Ling Xiao possibly seal it? Moon Deity's expression changed at South Celestial Venerable's words. She revealed a trace of worry on her face. Second Master. Is this guy telling the truth? Ling Xiao couldn't have been killed by the illusion devil ancient tree, right? Zhao Ritian was also stunned by South Celestial Venerable's words. He's just spouting nonsense. Second Master said disdainfully. The demon sealing scroll might not be able to trap the illusion devil ancient tree, but Ling Xiao has the wordless heavenly book. That treasure is the nemesis of the illusion devil ancient tree. It can definitely seal the illusion devil ancient tree. I think this guy is just coveting the inheritance of Scarlet Dragon War God on Ling Xiao. He's just looking for an excuse. Then what should we do? Zhao Ritian asked. Let him do as he pleases. When the Nantian family catches Ling Xiao, it'll be best if they both suffer great losses. Then, the wordless heavenly book will be ours. As long as you get the wordless heavenly book, supremes are nothing. Ascending to godhood is just a matter of time. Okay, I'll listen to Second Master. Zhao Ritian was overjoyed when he heard that. His eyes were filled with excitement. So you can imagine, if Ling Xiao is unable to seal the illusory demonic ancient tree, he will definitely be possessed by the extraterrestrial demon on the tree. If he doesn't come out, that means he is truly dead, and we will seal this Empyrean God Stone forever. But if he comes out, he's definitely not Ling Xiao. He's already been possessed by the extraterrestrial demon. We have to kill him. South Celestial Venerable said coldly. His eyes were filled with cold murderous intent. When everyone heard South Celestial Venerable's words, although they felt a little awkward, it made sense. If Ling Xiao was really possessed by the extraterrestrial demon, and he had the inheritance of Scarlet Dragon War God, once he grew up, it would definitely be a disaster for the entire War God continent. Then South Celestial Venerable threw out an irresistible temptation. I'm doing this for the sake of the people of the War God continent. As long as we kill Ling Xiao, I'll only take back what belongs to the Nantian family. The rest of the treasures, including the inheritance of Scarlet Dragon War God, will be given to everyone, South Celestial Venerable said righteously. Brother Nantian, are you serious? The eyes of Star Palace's Qi Sha, Pajun and Tanlang instantly lit up. The inheritance of Scarlet Dragon War God was an earth-shattering supreme treasure. Yet South Celestial Venerable said he didn't want it? Although they didn't know why South Celestial Venerable chose to give it up, South Celestial Venerable couldn't go back on what he said in public. I'm not lying. South Celestial Venerable smiled faintly. His eyes revealed a trace of sharpness. He only wanted the wordless heavenly book. When the time came, he could find a reason to say that the wordless heavenly book was a treasure cut out from the goddess stone of the Nantian family. Chapter 540. Alright, since Brother Nantian has said so, Star Palace will do something for the sake of the world. Disciples of Star Palace, listen up. Surround the divine stone. As long as Ling Xiao appears, kill him. Tanlang and the other two's voices were cold. All the experts of Star Palace surrounded the divine stone. The genius disciples who had spoken up for Ling Xiao fell silent. Their eyes shone brightly and no one knew what they were thinking. The inheritance of Scarlet Dragon of War that Holy Master Nan had mentioned was indeed tempting. Only the successor of Sword God Pavilion, Princess of Phoenix Ancient Kingdom, Moon Goddess and a few others insisted on standing on Ling Xiao's side. That's just your guess. What if Ling Xiao can really suppress the illusory demon ancient tree? Whoever dares to touch Ling Xiao will be the enemy of Moon Palace. Moon Goddess's calm and indifferent face revealed a tinge of anger. How could she not know that Holy Master Nan had ulterior motives? He was trying to divide the people with his words and instigate them against Ling Xiao, so that he could snatch the treasures from Ling Xiao. What was the so-called life-saving grace in front of the inheritance of Scarlet Dragon of War? That's right. Whoever dares to touch Ling Xiao will be the enemy of Sword God Pavilion. The successor of Sword God Pavilion stood out, and his eyes were filled with coldness. Ling Xiao is to my liking. Let's see who dares to touch him. Everyone, don't be so rash. When Ling Xiao comes out, let's make sure that he hasn't been possessed. Before that, no one is allowed to touch him. Granny Gui and the elder of Sword God Pavilion Jian Bumi stood out. The aura of half-step to supreme being spread out, and caused the void to tremble. Hee old man, I advise you to stay out of the Nantian family's business. Otherwise, when our master returns after killing Green Dragon Human Emperor, do you dare to go against a supreme being? Nan Tianqi said coldly. The cold aura around him exploded as he contended with Granny Gui and Jian Bumi. Even a supreme being can't be unreasonable. I, Xiong Laohe, will definitely interfere in Brother Ling Xiao's business. Xiong Laohe and the other great demons who were indebted to Ling Xiao also supported Ling Xiao and did not back down. Outside the heavenly divine stone, many experts were confronting each other. It was as if a great battle was about to break out at any moment. The situation could erupt at any moment. Inside the heavenly godstone, Ling Xiao's breakthrough had also reached a critical moment. Roar. The dragon's roar shook the heavens, and the dragon's might filled the air. Golden divine light illuminated the heavens and the earth. Ling Xiao sat cross-legged in the boundless void. Golden dragons coiled around him as if he had pierced through the boundless space. The illusory demon ancient tree was close to withering due to the crazy devouring of the three experts. The textless heavenly book was the nemesis of the illusory demon ancient tree. Almost 99% of the tree's power had been devoured by the textless heavenly book. Ling Xiao could see that the golden light enveloping the wordless heavenly book was close to perfection. Countless ancient runes filled the air, as though it was about to manifest another earth-shattering supreme secret technique. Ling Xiao did not notice the changes in the wordless heavenly book. He was completely immersed in the Tao comprehending realm. Ling Xiao felt as if he had transformed into a supreme true dragon. Hovering between the heavens and earth of the ancient world, he slaughtered gods and demons, and dominated the heavens. The myriad of worlds were praising his brilliance. The spirit of a dragon, the majesty of a dragon, the mystery of a dragon, the attack of a dragon, the nobility of a dragon. All of these had merged into Ling Xiao's body, becoming a part of his bone marrow, becoming an eternal and indestructible characteristic of his primordial spirit. Boom. In the end, the golden dragon formed by the true dragon pearl directly exploded in the void. It was like the explosion of a sun. Endless divine light swept in all directions. Countless runes filled the golden dragon, and multicolored light illuminated the sky. Streams of incomparably mysterious aura merged into Ling Xiao's body, causing his body to become stronger and stronger. Moreover, there was an extreme tearing pain. Ling Xiao felt as if his body was being crushed into powder. Roar. In the end, all the pain transformed into an enormous dragon roar that shook the heavens and the earth. Ling Xiao had actually transformed into an enormous golden dragon. It was 30 kilometers long, and it tore through space. Its scales were peerlessly sharp, and its dragon pressure was vast and mysterious. It caused the entire palace to start trembling. The space in the surroundings started to tremble violently as if it was on the verge of being unable to endure the strength of Ling Xiao's body. And then it suddenly exploded apart. He could tear space apart and control the energy of the heavens and the earth by relying solely on the strength of his body. This was the heavenly dragon body. After he broke through to the heavenly dragon body, the secret technique of the ancestral dragon had finally started to erupt with its peerless might of slaughter. It was monstrous, terrifying, and capable of suppressing all enemies. This fellow has actually transformed into a dragon? If it wasn't for the fact that my injuries haven't healed, I would even want to cultivate the secret technique of the ancestral dragon. The old goat opened his eyes wide, and they were filled with extreme surprise and envy. Just this peerless physique of a dragon is sufficient to crush monarch realm experts and sweep through all opponents. Taoist Wuliang praised as well. At this moment, Ling Xiao was hovering in the air while chaotic energy coiled around him. He was like an eternal and indestructible divine mountain that was heavy, majestic, and capable of suppressing everything. Both the old goat and Taoist Wuliang couldn't help but exclaim in admiration at the terrifying energy and blood emanating from him. 10th level monarch realm cultivation, and the heavenly dragon body. What do I have to fear as long as I don't encounter and exalt? Ling Xiao slowly opened his eyes. It was as if two divine suns had instantly appeared in the sky, and were emanating dazzling rays of light. Boom. Light flashed around Ling Xiao, and he instantly transformed into a handsome young man. He was dressed in white and had black hair, and he was peerlessly handsome and in high spirits. At this moment, the illusory demon tree had been completely devoured by the wordless heavenly tome. Only an enormous trunk was left behind, and it was suffused with dazzling light. Crack. The old goat instantly shattered the trunk with a stomp of his hoof, and 36 dazzling illusory demon tree cores appeared from within. Each of the illusory demon tree cores was the size of a human head. They were perfectly round and flawless, bright and dazzling like a full moon, exuding boundless vitality. These are the illusory demon tree cores in the growth period. These are all good stuff, comparable to supreme sacred medicine. Each of them can extend one's life by 1,000 years, and they can even transform one's body. Taoist Wuyang's eyes lit up. Haha. With these illusory demon tree cores, my Tao injury can finally be healed. The old goat was the most excited. He had suffered a Tao injury, and he needed the Great Path order to heal it. The illusory demon tree cores contained some mysterious supreme order that would be extremely beneficial to the old goat's Tao injury. Ling Xiao, I only need 10 illusory demon tree cores. Once I've healed my Tao injury, I'll definitely visit those who ambushed me one by one. Even if they're dead, I'll drag them out and whip their corpses. The old goat exclaimed excitedly. His Tao injury had already partially healed, and these illusory demon tree cores were enough to completely heal his Tao injury. I only need 3. Taoist Wuliang chuckled. He did not stand on ceremony with Ling Xiao, and directly took 3 illusory demon tree cores. Ling Xiao, the outside world must be in chaos right now. The crown prince of the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon, and the human emperor, have both been possessed by the extraterrestrial demons. A great battle might have already broken out. Let's go out and take a look, then find a place to cultivate in seclusion. The old goat urged. Ling Xiao smiled and said, Don't be hasty. Let me refine this divine king palace first. Chapter 541. That's right. The divine realm in the divine stone is actually a small world that is being nurtured. It is the prototype of a world created by the illusory demonic ancient tree in the chaos. However, the Scarlet Dragon War God built the divine king palace here, and sealed the illusory demonic ancient tree here for 1,000,000 years. Ling Xiao sighed softly and said slowly. It turned out that when Ling Xiao cut out the demon sealing scroll from the goddess stone, the information in the demon sealing scroll allowed Ling Xiao to understand the origin of this celestial stone. In other words, this was not a simple ancient stone but had been refined into a spatial treasure by the Scarlet Dragon War God. The divine realm in the divine stone was actually the prototype of a world created by the illusory demonic ancient tree. The Scarlet Dragon War God suppressed the illusory demonic ancient tree and countless extraterrestrial demons in the divine stone, and built the divine king palace and the path to heaven. The reason why one could comprehend the Tao outside the divine stone was because the divine stone suppressed the illusory demonic ancient tree and the extraterrestrial demons' power of laws, and turned them into nourishment for the genius's cultivation to advance by leaps and bounds. It could also be said that the divine stone was indeed a trial ground. The sealed demon scroll was a backup plan prepared by the Scarlet Dragon War God. In case the illusory demon ancient tree and the heavenly demons escaped, he could use the sealed demon scroll to completely suppress them. What? This divine stone is a treasure left for the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon? It seems that the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon is most likely the descendant of the Scarlet Dragon War God. Otherwise, the Scarlet Dragon War God would not have left such a treasure. The old goat slowly said. After listening to Ling Xiao, he and Taoist Wuliang finally understood the origin of the divine stone. The divine stone did not contain the Scarlet Dragon War God's inheritance, but it was a trial ground. Whether it was the path to heaven or the divine stone, they were all opportunities left by the Scarlet Dragon War God for the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon. The Scarlet Dragon War God was a character from 1,000,000 years ago. I didn't expect the extraterrestrial demons to escape and seize the bodies of Yu Yui and the Azure Dragon Human King. However, a treasure that can contain a mature world should be a legendary supreme divine weapon. Taoist Wuyang's eyes lit up. Although this chaotic world was still in its embryonic form, as long as Ling Xiao refined the celestial stone and took control of this supreme treasure, he would be able to become the master of this world and possess the complete world laws. Not only would this greatly benefit Ling Xiao's martial arts cultivation, but it would also serve as the foundation for establishing a sect in the future. It had to be known that those powerful martial holy lands had all opened up their own minor worlds. However, those minor worlds weren't complete, and their laws were incomplete. They could only be considered ordinary spaces attached to the War God continent. However, in Ling Xiao's hand, there was a complete prototype of a world. Do you already know how to refine Empyrean Divine Stone? The old goat looked at Ling Xiao with anticipation in his eyes. Of course. Ling Xiao smiled and remembered the 16 ancient characters outside the Godly King's palace. Although the Phantom Tree had tampered with them, they still contain the secrets left behind by Scarlet Dragon War God. Peerless Blood, Indestructible Battle Soul, True Dragon Fate, and the Inheritance of the Divine King. The inheritance of the Divine King here was to inherit the Godly King's palace and become the master of the Divine Realm, completely refining the Empyrean Divine Stone. Since Ling Xiao had obtained the recognition of the 16 ancient characters, it meant that Ling Xiao had become the master of this world. Wang. With a thought, the stone tablet outside the Godly King's palace flew towards Ling Xiao. The 16 ancient characters emitted a dazzling light. However, the traces left behind by the Phantom Tree on the stone tablet had been completely removed. Ling Xiao kept the stone tablet in his sea of consciousness and began refining it with the power of his primordial spirit. This stone tablet was the core of the entire divine realm. As long as he refined the stone tablet, he would be able to completely control the divine realm. After obtaining the recognition of the 16 ancient characters, Ling Xiao refined the stone tablet almost instantly. Rumble. The entire divine realm was filled with chaos and clouds. Clear air rose to the sky and turbid air sank to the ground. Heaven and earth were separated, yin and yang circulated, and the 5 elements evolved. Mountains, rivers, and continents gradually took shape. The scene of the creation of heaven and earth appeared before Ling Xiao. At this moment, Ling Xiao was like a god of creation. With a thought, the entire divine realm began to evolve into a real world. This place can indeed become the foundation of my Changxing sect. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. This world was vast and mysterious. It contained incomparably pure Xiantian qi. If a warrior could cultivate here for a long time, his cultivation would definitely advance by leaps and bounds. However, for countless years, the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon had not discovered the secret of the divine stone. Instead, it had benefited Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao's heart flashed with a trace of understanding. The wordless heavenly book was also a treasure of the Scarlet Dragon war god. Perhaps it was because he had obtained the recognition of the wordless heavenly book that he could control this divine stone. The embryonic form of the world in the divine stone was flawless. Ling Xiao was amazed that the phantom tree could nurture such a perfect world. In his previous life, although there was a small world in Ling Xiao's longevity ring, it was not perfect and did not have a complete world order. With a complete world order, the value of this divine stone was beyond imagination. If it was exposed, those Supreme Being experts would probably go crazy and come to snatch it. I'll leave the divine stone in the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon first. I'll find an opportunity to take it away. I've already refined the divine stone. No one can enter the divine realm anymore. Ling Xiao said with a faint smile. His eyes flashed with a trace of radiance. In this divine realm assembly, Ling Xiao was the one who had gained the most. Not only did he devour the phantom tree, but he also obtained the divine stone, a supreme treasure. That's right. When the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon finds out that the divine stone is gone, they'll have nowhere to cry. But they must be in a mess now. They probably won't have time to care about the divine stone. The old goat said with a smile. We can go out now. If the Azure Dragon human emperor goes crazy and erupts with his supreme being aura, I'm afraid no one can stop him. And Ling Xiao ruined his plans. I'm afraid he won't let us go. Taoist Wu Yang's eyes showed a trace of seriousness. The Azure Dragon human emperor? If he goes crazy, I'm afraid there will be rivers of blood outside. Let's go out and take a look. The old goat thought for a while and his face turned solemn. A supreme being experts might shook the world and swept across the land. It was not something that an ordinary warrior could contend against. Ling Xiao descended from the void. There was a trace of sharpness in his eyes. He sneered and said, I don't know if the Azure Dragon human emperor has gone crazy, but are the Nantian family and the Star Palace planning to repay kindness with ingratitude? They have already surrounded the divine stone. Are they planning to take action the moment we come out? Chapter 542. Ling Xiao told the old goat and Taoist Wuliang what happened outside the god stone. They were furious too. Nantian family and Star Palace are still thinking of biting the hand that feeds them? They must be after your treasures. The old goat said coldly. If so, let's go out and kill them. Taoist Wuyang's eyes glinted. Ling Xiao's gaze moved slightly and said, So South Sky Ju and Star Emperor came when the Green Dragon human emperor went mad. The two of them besieged the Green Dragon human emperor, but I don't know where they are now. No wonder Nantian family and Star Palace were so arrogant. They had the support of 2 Supremes. When we get out, if they dare to attack, we'll kill them. If the Supremes attack, we'll hide in the God Stone and leave. We'll take our revenge after we reach the Supremes. Ling Xiao's face was filled with murderous intent. Apparently, he was really angry because of what South Sky Ju and the others did. However, if it really came to that, the God Stone would be exposed. Even if the God Stone was a supreme divine weapon that could take Ling Xiao and the others away, the Supremes of the Martial Dao Sanctuary would be alerted. They would chase after Ling Xiao and there would be no place for him to stay. That was the worst-case scenario. Ling Xiao didn't want to expose the God Stone unless he had no other choice. Alright, let's go. Ling Xiao and the other 2 left the Heavenly God realm in a flash and appeared outside the Heavenly God Stone. Ling Xiao is out. Catch him. Ling Xiao, the old goat and Taoist Wuliang appeared at the same time and shocked everyone. Nantian Sword's eyes lit up as he pointed at Ling Xiao. Rumble. Dozens of Nantian family experts, all of whom were in the martial monarch realm, emitted an extremely powerful aura. Their eyes were filled with murderous intent as they grabbed at Ling Xiao. You're courting death. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed coldly. His body was filled with boundless dragon power, as if a real dragon was roaring in the sky. A violent and terrifying power exploded. Ling Xiao threw a punch and the golden light was dazzling, illuminating the heaven and earth. This was the first time Ling Xiao had used his full physical strength after he cultivated the body of the heavenly dragon. Ling Xiao's arm seemed to have transformed into a true dragon that could move unhindered in the world. That power that could suppress everything caused the faces of the experts from the Nantian family to change. Crack! The golden lightning exploded, shattering the true Kong shields of the Nantian family's experts. The sound of bones breaking could be heard, accompanied by miserable screams. The emperors were sent flying by Ling Xiao's punch. Blood spurted from their mouths as they smashed into the ground in the distance. More than 10 emperors were actually heavily injured by Ling Xiao's punch. The power of a single punch was so great. The scene was dead silent. Everyone was stunned by the scene in front of them. How is this possible? Southern Sky Sword's mouth was full of bitterness. His eyes almost popped out. Ling Xiao's fist swept through the heaven and earth. It was so overbearing that even he felt the threat of death. South Celestial Venerable's eyes were also filled with shock. Originally, in his eyes, Ling Xiao was an ant that he could casually crush. However, after coming out of the Celestial Stone, Ling Xiao actually burst forth with such terrifying combat strength. He must have obtained a supreme opportunity and inheritance from the Heavenly God Stone. Fear and jealousy appeared in South Celestial Venerable's eyes. When he thought of the wordless heavenly book on Ling Xiao, his heart burned with even more passion. Everyone, let's attack together and kill him. Ling Xiao is merely in the noble realm. It's impossible for him to have such terrifying combat strength. He must have been possessed by the extraterrestrial demon. Kill Ling Xiao and all his treasures and supreme inheritance will belong to everyone. South Celestial Venerable said coldly as he pointed at Ling Xiao. His eyes were filled with chilling killing intent. Everyone was stunned for a moment before coming to a realization. That's right. He must have been possessed by the extraterrestrial demon. Ling Xiao can't injure more than 10 emperors with a single punch. Everyone, let's attack together. Let's get rid of this evil for the people of the War God continent. Greedy Wolf Starchild and the others from the Star Palace also pointed at Ling Xiao and said coldly, "Fuck your grandmother's bullshit." Old Goat was furious. He pointed at South Celestial Venerable and Greedy Wolf's noses and scolded, "I can testify that Ling Xiao wasn't possessed by the extraterrestrial demon. You two bastards are ungrateful and shameless. Aren't you just after Ling Xiao's treasures? Why do you have to make up such a lie? If I had known, I would have let you bastards be possessed by the extraterrestrial demon." This Old Goat and that stinky Taoist must have been possessed by the extraterrestrial demon too. Don't listen to them. Attack together and kill them. South Sky Sword pointed at Old Goat and Taoist Wuliang and scolded them. His eyes were filled with chilling killing intent. "Bastard, how dare you slander me? You're courting death." Murderous intent flashed across Old Goat's eyes. He spat out a golden flame from his mouth. It emitted a terrifying wave that could burn the heavens and earth. It instantly enveloped South Sky Sword. The devouring heaven fire could burn everything. South Sky Sword's expression changed drastically. He quickly activated his defensive Taoist artifact to block the attack. However, the devouring heaven fire was too powerful. His entire body started burning instantly. Whether it was his clothes or his defensive Taoist artifact, they were all burning crazily. Big brother, save me. South Sky Sword screamed like a pig being slaughtered. His skin was torn and his flesh was exposed. He was enduring endless pain. Bastard. Nan Tianqi's expression changed drastically. He didn't expect Old Goat to attack without warning. Moreover, South Sky Sword was very close to Old Goat. Even he didn't have time to react. Boom. Nan Tianqi spat out an extremely cold air from his hand. He wanted to extinguish the devouring heaven fire on South Sky Sword. However, a white mist rose. Not only did it not extinguish the devouring heaven fire, but it also made the flames on South Sky's sword burn even more fiercely. If he wants to extinguish this emperor's true devouring fire, unless a supreme being descends, he's dead meat. The old goat sneered. Nan Tianqi's expression was very ugly. Not only was he unable to extinguish the devouring heaven fire, but a trace of the devouring heaven fire had also spread to his palm. It seemed to be very intelligent and started burning fiercely. Swoosh. Nan Tianqi's eyes revealed a trace of fierceness. He slashed down with his saber and cut off his arm. His arm instantly turned into ashes. South Sky's sword didn't seem to be able to survive. His screams became softer and softer. In the end, he was also burned into ashes. You're courting death. South Celestial Venerable was instantly enraged. His eyes were filled with blazing murderous intent. South Sky's sword was enveloped by the devouring heaven fire, and was burned into ashes in an instant. Even Nan Tianqi couldn't do anything about it. Naturally, he couldn't do anything either. Chapter 543. He was indifferent by nature, so he didn't feel much heartache when Nantian's sword was burned to death. What he cared more about was that Nantian's sword being burned to death was simply a slap to his face. The humiliation made him want to tear Ling Xiao and the other two into pieces. Everyone from Nantian family, listen up. Kill them. Nan Tianqi and Nan Tianzuan took the lead. They gave off a terrifying aura and were about to kill Ling Xiao and the other two. People from Star Palace, follow me to kill the demon. The three stars, Qi Sha, Pajun and Tanlang sneered and led the experts from Star Palace to besiege Ling Xiao. Stop! Whoever dares to touch Ling Xiao will be my enemy. Ling Xiao is the benefactor of Sword God Pavilion. Whoever dares to touch him, don't blame me for being merciless. I, Xiong Laohe, can't stand people who bully the weak and fear the strong. Little brother Ling is my friend. Get lost. Three thunderous voices were heard. Granny Gui, Jian Bummy, and Xiong Laohe stood up and led Moon Palace, Sword God Pavilion, and some demon kings and demon royal experts to confront them. The remaining people had subtle expressions. If Ling Xiao was at a disadvantage, they wouldn't mind adding insult to injury and getting a share of the action. However, both sides seemed to be evenly matched. They were smart enough to choose to remain neutral. Granny Gui, Elder Jian, and Elder Xiong, Ling Xiao and the other two have been possessed by the extraterrestrial demon, and have become demons. They will bring disaster to the entire War God continent. If you stop me from killing him, are you trying to make the entire War God continent your enemy? Nan Tianzuan's eyes flashed coldly as he stared at the three half-step supreme beings without backing down. Make the entire War God continent my enemy? Hee hee, little guy, you can't scare me. I can't tell that Ling Xiao has been possessed by the extraterrestrial demon. Before we can confirm that he has been possessed, no one is allowed to touch him. Granny Gui sneered and the aura of a half-step supreme being exploded. It was cold and gloomy, as though it was going to freeze everything. She didn't back down at all. That's right. Unless we can confirm that young friend Ling has been possessed by the extraterrestrial demon, the Sword God Pavilion will not interfere. Otherwise, you are not allowed to touch him. Jian Bummy said coldly. Sword will rose around him. It was pure and sharp, as if it was going to tear the void apart. Hee hee, I Xiong Laohe, can't stand ungrateful people like you. If it wasn't for Ling Xiao, you would have died in the heavenly god realm. Now you still have the face to repay kindness with enmity? You're worse than pigs and dogs, and you're even worse than us demons. Xiong Laohe didn't give any face to the Nantian family and the Star Palace at all. He sneered and ridiculed them. Instantly, the people from the two sanctuaries glared at him angrily. Ling Xiao had saved so many genius experts. This was something that couldn't be denied at all. They only dared to target Ling Xiao because he had been possessed by the extraterrestrial demon under the guise of vanquishing the demon. Otherwise, if the news of them biting the hand that fed them spread, the two holy lands would lose a great deal of face and be despised by others. Celestial Venerable Nan's gaze turned cold, but he regained his composure immediately. He said indifferently, "It's simple to prove if Ling Xiao was possessed by the extraterrestrial demon. Soul search. As long as Ling Xiao releases his primordial spirit and lets me check his consciousness, it'll be clear. Soul search? The moment Celestial Venerable Nan said that, Ling Xiao's gaze turned cold. The old goat and Taoist Wuliang almost jumped up and scolded. The primordial spirit was the foundation of a martial artist. Even the closest relatives couldn't check, let alone a group of enemies. Once Ling Xiao released his primordial spirit, he wouldn't have any secrets. By then, the secret of his rebirth and the secret of the wordless heaven book would be exposed. Plus, Ling Xiao knew that Celestial Venerable Nan didn't have good intentions. His motive was the wordless heaven book. How could Ling Xiao agree to it? Brother Nantian is right. As long as we perform the soul search, the truth will be revealed. Ling Xiao, if you don't dare to perform the soul search, it means that you're hiding something. Tan Lang said coldly as he looked at Ling Xiao. The old goat couldn't hold it in any longer. He jumped out and scolded. I'll search your mother's head. What right do you have to perform the soul search? I even suspect that you've been possessed by an extraterrestrial demon. Your entire family has been possessed by an extraterrestrial demon. Bring your father, mother, uncle, grandmother, third uncle, and niece here to perform the soul search. As long as you're willing, we're willing. Do you dare to do it or not? The old goat scolded Celestial Venerable Nan, Tan Lang, and the others. Their eyes flashed coldly, and their killing intent seemed to materialize. This old goat's mouth was too cheap. He didn't choose his words carefully. Even the most cultured person would go berserk after hearing that. They would want to skin him alive and pull out his tendons. The moon deity also said coldly, that's right. The primordial spirit is the foundation of a martial artist. What right do you have to perform the soul search? If you don't dare to perform the soul search, it means that you're hiding something. Plus, Ling Xiao is only in the noble realm. How could he have such powerful combat power? He must have been possessed by an extraterrestrial demon. Tan Lang said with a sneer. Ling Xiao, I advise you to reveal your true form. Everyone here is the prodigies of the war god continent. You can't escape. Celestial Venerable Nan looked at Ling Xiao indifferently. Ha ha ha. Ling Xiao suddenly laughed out loud. His eyes were filled with mockery and disdain. Subdue the demon. Nantian aristocratic family and Star Palace. Aren't you guys worried that I've obtained the Divine King's inheritance in the Divine Stone? How could you do such a thing to repay kindness with ingratitude? How disgusting. However, since you guys said that I've been possessed by an extraterrestrial demon, I'll prove it to you. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a cold smile. A pill the size of a baby's fist appeared in his hand. It was round and simple, and emitted a mysterious fluctuation of law. Dao rhymes intertwined and golden clouds shrouded it. Blood qi was as vigorous as the sea. It was the blood origin supreme pill. The life of an extraterrestrial demon is different from the life of the war god continent. They are repelled by the law of heaven and earth. Even if the life of the war god continent is possessed by an extraterrestrial demon, they wouldn't dare to touch the power of law of the war god continent. Otherwise, they would immediately reveal their true form. This blood origin supreme pill contains the supreme law. If I'm possessed by an extraterrestrial demon after I swallow the blood origin supreme pill, I'll immediately reveal my true form. If I'm fine, it means that I haven't been possessed at all. Ling Xiao looked at the crowd indifferently and said, what a joke. This method of identifying an extraterrestrial demon is unheard of. Who knows if you've done anything to it? Tan Lang sneered. That's right. A mere pill can't prove anything. Unless you accept the soul search, you're guilty. Chapter 544. Zhenbao Pavilion's great elder Chen Tong's eyes lit up and he said, I remember now. Young friend Ling is right. Consuming the supreme elixir is the best way to check if he is possessed by the extraterrestrial demon. The power of law in the supreme elixir can tell if he is an extraterrestrial demon or not. Jian Bummy nodded and said, that's right. I remember too. In the ancient records of Sword God Pavilion, during the calamity 10,000 years ago, when the extraterrestrial demon invaded, there were also extraterrestrial demons who wanted to possess the living beings in this world. In the end, We used the supreme elixir to tell the difference. Many old monsters nodded their heads. Such a method did exist, and it was extremely effective. Even if consuming the supreme elixir can tell if he is possessed, who knows if he tampered with the blood origin supreme elixir? Tan Lang said with a sneer. Ling Xiao said indifferently. This blood origin supreme elixir was cut out from an ancient stone. Its medicinal efficacy is well preserved. Seniors can check it. But what I want to say is, what if I can prove that I am not possessed by the extraterrestrial demon? Then I'll spare your life, South Holy Master said coldly. Ha ha. If I can prove that I am not possessed by the extraterrestrial demon, you will be biting the hand that feeds you. You will be ungrateful. You shameless people will all die. Ling Xiao sneered and his eyes were filled with murderous intent. He hated the Star Palace and Nantian family to the extreme. If it wasn't for them stirring up trouble, how could there be so many things happening? Let me check the blood origin supreme elixir for young friend Ling. Zhanbao Pavilion's great elder and many old monsters took the blood origin supreme elixir and checked it. In the end, they proved that it wasn't tampered with. Ling Xiao took it over and swallowed it directly. Boom. The majestic power of qi and blood erupted from the blood origin supreme pellet, increasing the strength of Ling Xiao's body by a little. The vast dragon's power pervaded the air, making his heavenly dragon body even more powerful. But what disappointed the Nantian family and Star Palace was that Ling Xiao wasn't possessed by the extraterrestrial demon. South Holy Master's gaze instantly turned gloomy. In that case, he had no excuse to attack Ling Xiao. No, there was still one more chance. A battle of life and death. Killing intent flashed in South Celestial Venerable's eyes. He looked coldly at Ling Xiao and said, "Very good. Since you weren't possessed by the otherworldly demons, it's the fortune of the War God continent. However, you killed my little brother, Southern Sky Sword. Ling Xiao, you will still die today." After saying that, South Celestial Venerable looked at everyone and said, "Everyone, this is a personal grudge between my Nantian clan and Ling Xiao. I hope that everyone won't interfere." South Celestial Venerable, I've never seen someone as shameless as you. You're a bitch and you still want to build a monument to your chastity? Why don't you say that you want to repay Ling Xiao for saving your life? The old goat sneered, his eyes filled with disdain. That's right. Southern Celestial Venerable. Even if the Southern Sky Sword was killed by the old goat, it was still your slander. If it wasn't for Ling Xiao saving you, all of you would have died inside the Celestial Divine Stone. Moon God looked coldly at South Celestial Venerable. The heir of the Sword God's Pavilion spoke as well. South Celestial Venerable, don't go too far. The dignified Nantian clan is ungrateful. Do you want everyone on the War God continent to laugh at you? South Celestial Venerable spoke coldly. Don't worry, this is a personal grudge between me and Ling Xiao. The Nantian clan won't interfere. Moreover, I have a life and death battle with Ling Xiao. I'll fight him today regardless of life and death. South Celestial Venerable emanated a peerlessly powerful aura, and his cultivation at the 6th level of the Monarch realm was clearly revealed. His eyes were filled with killing intent as he stared fixedly at Ling Xiao. I have to kill Ling Xiao and take the wordless heavenly scripture. South Celestial Venerable made up his mind. A life and death battle? Everyone was stunned when they heard South Celestial Venerable mention a life and death battle. Ling Xiao had agreed to it himself, so they didn't have any reason to plead on his behalf even if they wanted to. South Celestial Venerable, don't make so many excuses. If you want to die, then I'll fulfill your wish. Only one of us can live today. Ling Xiao's eyes flickered with a sharp light. Disregarding the enmity between Ling Xiao and the Nantian clan, just the fact that South Celestial Venerable coveted the wordless heavenly scripture was enough for him to die. Ling Xiao was filled with questions. He didn't know why South Celestial Venerable could recognize the wordless heavenly scripture. Ling Xiao, kill this bastard for me. That shameless bastard. The old goat pointed at South Celestial Venerable and spoke fiercely. That's right. Ling Xiao, slap his face and kill him. Taoist Wuliang was infuriated by South Celestial Venerable's shamelessness as well. Both the old goat and Taoist Wuliang knew how terrifying Ling Xiao was. While South Celestial Venerable was strong, How could he compare to Ling Xiao? So, in their opinion, there was no suspense at all in this battle. On the other hand, Moon Goddess, the successor of the Sword God's Pavilion, Jian Bumi, Xiong Laohe, and the others revealed extremely worried expressions. They could see that Ling Xiao had defeated over a dozen monarchs with a single punch. He was indeed very strong, and he probably obtained some sort of fortuitous encounter within the heavenly stone. However, Ling Xiao's cultivation was only in the noble realm, after all. The gap between him and South Celestial Venerable was too great. Over the years, South Celestial Venerable's battle achievements were shocking. He had practically swept through his peers and shocked the north of the War God continent. Even 9th-level monarchs weren't his match. Ling Xiao was probably going to lose this battle. However, Ling Xiao was so determined that they couldn't persuade him anymore. Let's fight! South Celestial Venerable's eyes blazed as his monarch realm cultivation erupted. It was as if heaven and earth were collapsing. Boundless divine light rippled out as an ancient and mysterious stone gate rose behind him. The stone gate seemed to be a supreme divine object that suppressed the primal chaos. It emitted a terrifying aura that was thick and powerful as it swept across the sky and suppressed Ling Xiao. This is the Nantian clan's supreme ability, the Southern Heavenly Gate? Someone exclaimed, and a trace of shock appeared in his eyes. They didn't expect South Celestial Venerable to directly use the power of the Southern Heavenly Gate. Legend had it that the Southern Heavenly Gate was the door to the ancient Heavenly Court, and the Nantian clan had an extremely mysterious connection with the ancient Heavenly Court. Once the Southern Heavenly Gate appeared, the heavens would retreat and suppress all enemies. The ancient Southern Heavenly Gate swept through the void. South Celestial Venerable wanted to end the battle quickly, and completely kill Ling Xiao to snatch the wordless Heavenly Book from him. Thinking about the mysteries of the wordless Heavenly Book, South Celestial Venerable's heart burned with passion. Boom! The Southern Heavenly Gate suppressed the heavens and the earth. It was ancient and mysterious. Blazing rays of light filled the air as lines of ancient runes intertwined with each other. It was as if a sea of lightning was descending. The terrifying power caused many old monsters to reveal serious expressions. Would Ling Xiao be able to withstand this attack? Kill! Ling Xiao's expression was cold. He only spat out a single word as he punched out at the Southern Heavenly Gate. Boom! Shocking lightning exploded and golden light filled the air. In the vast void, Ling Xiao seemed to have transformed into a supreme heavenly dragon. His vital energy and blood soared, and his fist light was like a sun in the void. It was peerlessly terrifying. Chapter 545. Crack. Ling Xiao's speed was so fast that everyone could only see a terrifying divine light exploding in the void. The dragon's aura filled the air, and the dragon's roar shook the heavens. The invincible Southern Heaven Gate was shattered by Ling Xiao. It was as if a divine sun had exploded. Countless runes erupted and terrifying fluctuations swept out in all directions. Many geniuses with weaker cultivations felt as if they had been struck by lightning. They suddenly spat out mouthfuls of blood, and rapidly retreated. What? Everyone's eyes were filled with disbelief. At this moment, Ling Xiao seemed to have transformed into an ancient true dragon. That monstrous and ferocious aura caused everyone to tremble, especially Xiong Laohe and the other great demons. The true dragon's aura suppressed them the most. Their eyes were filled with fear. No one expected Ling Xiao's punch to be so terrifying that it could shatter the Southern Heaven Gate. Above the void, South Celestial Venerable's expression changed drastically. He only realized how terrifying Ling Xiao's physical body was when Ling Xiao shattered the Southern Heaven Gate. Faint ripples appeared in the surrounding void, as though it would shatter at any moment. An unparalleled fist mark accompanied by blazing golden light blasted towards South Celestial Venerable. South Celestial Venerable couldn't dodge, and could only strike with his palm. He exploded with all his cultivation, and took Ling Xiao's attack head-on. Boom! South Celestial Venerable was instantly sent flying by Ling Xiao. He spat out a mouthful of blood and his face turned pale. The peerless martial arts of the dragon race. How do you know the martial arts of the dragon race? How are you so strong? South Celestial Venerable's eyes were filled with shock. Ling Xiao seemed to have really become a member of the dragon race. His physical body was too terrifying. It was as though an immemorial divine beast had awakened. That majestic aura swept through everything. Again, Ling Xiao ignored South's celestial venerable. His eyes were filled with battle intent, and an even more terrifying power rose. Ling Xiao stepped into the void and countless runes enveloped him. The violent dragon divine ability was unleashed. The violent dragon divine ability unleashed 16 times the power of the heavenly dragon physique. Rumble. The world seemed to be unable to withstand Ling Xiao's aura, and it began to rumble and tremble. Ling Xiao's aura skyrocketed rapidly, as if it had the power to break open the world and shatter the vacuum. Ling Xiao's eyes were as sharp as blades, cold and emotionless. He looked at South's celestial venerable and punched. Crack. The void trembled violently where the fist print enveloped. A black crack appeared and suppressed South's celestial venerable with unparalleled power of space. What? South's celestial venerable's expression changed greatly. He didn't expect that punch to be far from Ling Xiao's limit. At this moment, the aura emitted from Ling Xiao's body made him tremble uncontrollably. He felt the threat of death. Heavenly Venerable Dharma Idol. Nantian Ancestral Soul Suppress. South Celestial Venerable went completely mad. He felt that he had miscalculated, but the more he miscalculated, the stronger his greed for the wordless heavenly book became. He knew that Ling Xiao's earth-shattering martial arts must have come from the wordless heavenly book. As long as he killed Ling Xiao, the wordless heavenly book would be his. Rumble. Behind South Celestial Venerable, divine light shone brightly as the laws of order intertwined. Endless chaotic mist rose, and a terrifying figure that looked down on everything walked out. It was enveloped in a noble purple aura, like a heavenly venerable. This was the heavenly venerable Dharma idol formed by South Celestial Venerable. It represented all of South Celestial Venerable's comprehension of the origin of martial arts. 64 bright stars surrounded the heavenly venerable Dharma idol. They instantly burned, and a force that made the heavens and earth tremble rushed into the sky. The heavenly venerable Dharma idol stepped forward and pressed down with its palm. Looks like we really misjudged him. Could it be that young friend Ling is really a member of the Dragon Clan? He can unleash such terrifying combat power as a noble and forced out South Celestial Venerable's heavenly venerable Dharma idol, with just 2 punches. The first elder of the precious treasure pavilion sighed, and his eyes were filled with shock. Only someone from the dragon tribe has such a terrifying physical body, right? However, the heavenly venerable Dharma idol has gathered the power of laws of 64 great superpowers. Its power is unparalleled and can suppress everything. It won't be easy for Ling Xiao to win. Jian Bumi also said slowly. Ling Xiao and South Celestial Venerable had such terrifying combat power. Those who had mocked Ling Xiao before all disappeared. Everyone was stunned as they watched the peerless battle in the void. No one could guess the result of this battle. Everyone was waiting for the result of this battle. In the battle between Ling Xiao and South Celestial Venerable, those so-called peerless geniuses were all overshadowed. Rumble. The heavens and earth changed color. The power of the heavenly venerable Dharma idol shrouded the sky and covered the radiance of the sun. That palm seemed to turn the heavens and earth upside down, enveloping all living things within it. The heavenly venerable Dharma idol was like a supreme heavenly venerable that controlled the heavenly Tao. It was cold, powerful, and eternal. Ling Xiao's fist was wrapped in monstrous divine power. It used force to break all laws and collided with the heavenly venerable Dharma idol. The void instantly shattered. A huge crack like a heavenly river swallowed all the divine light. Ling Xiao was like a peerless true dragon. The terrifying fist print lit up the endless darkness, and finally landed on the heavenly venerable Dharma idol. Crack. The heavenly venerable Dharma idol trembled violently, and finally exploded. It turned into countless gorgeous light rain, and illuminated South Celestial Venerable's disbelieving gaze. Boom. Ling Xiao's fist landed on South Celestial Venerable's chest. Boundless divine light exploded from his body. In the end, all his clothes were destroyed, revealing a purple battle armor. It flowed with gorgeous divine light and instantly blocked Ling Xiao's attack. Although South Celestial Venerable was sent flying by Ling Xiao, he still managed to block the punch. Supreme weapon? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He could feel that the purple battle armor on South Celestial Venerable was actually a supreme weapon. It flowed with an invincible, mysterious, and majestic aura. It was like a peerless supreme that eliminated all attacks. It's not a complete supreme weapon. It's only a pseudo-supreme weapon. Starlight filled Ling Xiao's eyes. He could see that the purple battle armor on South Celestial Venerable was incomplete. The power of laws wasn't complete. It wasn't a true supreme weapon. After all, supreme weapons were extremely terrifying. Even supreme being experts couldn't easily forge supreme weapons. Supreme beings who didn't know how to forge weapons had to use their own power of laws to nurture their weapons for thousands of years before they could forge a supreme weapon. In the entire War God continent, supreme weapons were extremely rare. However, even a pseudo-supreme weapon was very impressive. It actually blocked Ling Xiao's killing blow. Ling Xiao believed that South Celestial Venerable wouldn't have been able to block his punch without the purple battle armor. Ling Xiao, you deserve to die. With the protection of the purple Qilin armor, you can't break through my defense. You're destined to die today. You'll definitely die. South Celestial Venerable was shocked and furious. His eyes were filled with cold killing intent. Chapter 546. Boom. Celestial Venerable Nan stood in the air, wearing the purple Qilin armor. His black hair fluttered in the wind, and his aura was so violent that it seemed to be able to tear the sky apart. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. He hated Ling Xiao to the extreme, but he also feared him to the extreme. Even though he had overestimated Ling Xiao's combat strength, he realized that he had underestimated Ling Xiao in the real battle. Ling Xiao's violent blood qi, which was like the peerless body of a primordial true dragon, made him even more greedy. Celestial Venerable Nan knew that Ling Xiao must have used a peerless secret technique from the wordless heavenly book. With just 2 punches, he broke the Nantian family's peerless ability, the Nantian Gate, and Celestial Venerable Nan's Celestial Venerable Dharma form. If it wasn't for the purple Qilin armor, Celestial Venerable Nan would have been killed by Ling Xiao's punch. Kill. Ling Xiao looked at Celestial Venerable Nan with a cold gaze. He didn't give Celestial Venerable Nan any chance to retaliate as he charged towards him. Roar. Ling Xiao formed a peerless fist seal. Even though Celestial Venerable Nan was wearing the purple Qilin armor, Ling Xiao wasn't worried at all. As long as it wasn't a true supreme weapon, Ling Xiao was confident that Celestial Venerable Nan wouldn't be able to block his heavenly dragon body. Ling Xiao, go to hell. Celestial Venerable Nan shouted, his eyes filled with cruel murderous intent. Boom. A mysterious aura was emitted from Celestial Venerable Nan's body. It was extremely sharp and contained a saber intent that could destroy everything. It was as if it was going to shatter the sky and annihilate everything. A black broken saber appeared in Celestial Venerable Nan's palm. The black broken saber was dark and mysterious. As soon as it appeared in the air, the terrifying saber intent instantly shattered the surrounding void. What saber is that? Everyone revealed an incomparably terrified expression. Especially those old monsters. Even the half-step supremes felt their scalps tingle. They felt the threat of death, as if a saber light could shatter them into pieces. This terrifying power was comparable to a peerless supreme weapon. However, if a broken saber could unleash the power of a supreme weapon, how terrifying would a complete saber be? Divine weapon. 2 words that caused the heavens and earth to tremble, caused the winds to change color, and caused the eyes of all the old monsters to tremble appeared in their hearts. No one had expected South Celestial Venerable to have such a world-shaking weapon. Ling Xiao is dead meat. Tan Lang and the rest looked at the broken saber in South Celestial Venerable's hand with a burning gaze. They all had the same thought. Even a half-step supreme being would die without a doubt when this saber fell. How could Ling Xiao possibly block it? Is this your trump card? A cold glint flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes. The threat of death emanated from the broken black saber. It was extremely powerful. Rumble. The broken saber in South Celestial Venerable's hand slashed down. It contained an aura that could destroy the world. The world turned white as if only that peerless saber light was left. A single slash could destroy the world. And this was it. Ling Xiao, be careful. Moon deity, old goat, and Taoist Wuliang's expressions changed drastically. This saber was too terrifying. It was as if a peerless supreme being had attacked. The peerless suppression and murderous intent made everyone feel helpless. Would Ling Xiao be able to block this attack? Rumble. Ling Xiao's figure didn't change. Monstrous blood energy soared into the sky. However, a black and white brick suddenly appeared in his hand. At this moment, it seemed to have been stimulated by the broken saber. It began to emit yin and yang energy, and a mysterious starlight appeared. In the void, a mysterious phenomenon of a sun and a moon appeared in the sky. Clang! The sound of metal clashing came. The broken saber slashed on the heavenly steel of sun and moon, shooting out thousands of rays of light. Countless runes spewed out and were annihilated. The surrounding void began to shatter like a mirror. Countless spiderwebs appeared. The chaotic mist lingered and shrouded Ling Xiao and South Celestial Venerable. How is this possible? South Celestial Venerable's eyes almost popped out. His eyes were filled with disbelief. This broken saber was his strongest trump card. When he was still a king, he had used this broken saber to kill a half-step supreme being. Its power was unparalleled. However, the brick in Ling Xiao's hand blocked it. Rumble. Ling Xiao didn't give South Celestial Venerable a chance to react. While he was distracted, a terrifying physical strength erupted. The heavenly steel of sun and moon broke the broken saber and slapped South Celestial Venerable's face. Crack. It was as if an immemorial divine mountain was pressing down on him. Even though South Celestial Venerable had the purple Qilin armor, he was still instantly sent flying. Mixed with fresh blood, South Celestial Venerable screamed. His teeth were broken and half of his face was mangled. He looked extremely miserable. Wordless Heavenly Book, suppress. Ling Xiao's eyes were extremely cold. As the saying goes, take advantage of the situation. The wordless Heavenly Book emitted a dazzling divine light. A divine chain of order extended from Ling Xiao's forehead and pressed toward South Celestial Venerable's forehead. Divine saber, block it. South Celestial Venerable felt the threat of death. Ignoring the intense pain on his face, he hurriedly activated the broken saber in his hand, wanting to cut off the divine chain of order between his eyebrows. Buzz. The wordless Heavenly Book emitted a mysterious light that shone on the broken saber. The broken saber instantly trembled as if it was being suppressed and stopped. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed sharply. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the heaven-devouring sword in his hand flashed. An unparalleled sharpness swept across the sky and chopped off South Celestial Venerable's head. Meanwhile, the wordless Heavenly Book emitted a mysterious light that devoured South Celestial Venerable's primordial spirit. In the void, the radiance and sharpness intertwined with each other, blocking everyone's senses. Is Ling Xiao dead? Nan Tianqi, Chen Yang, and the other members of the Nantian family were filled with anticipation. Meanwhile, the old goat and Taoist Wuliang were very nervous and worried. Bang! At this moment, a headless corpse fell from the void. Blood spurted out and dyed the sky red. When everyone saw the headless corpse, they were all stunned. South Celestial Venerable. That corpse was actually South Celestial Venerable. Everyone felt like they were in a dream and couldn't believe their eyes. That terrifying slash caused gods and demons to retreat. Everyone thought that Ling Xiao was dead for sure. How could it be South Celestial Venerable who died? Everyone looked at the void abruptly. There, Ling Xiao slowly walked over with an indifferent expression. He held South Celestial Venerable's head in his hand. South Celestial Venerable's eyes widened. His eyes were filled with unwillingness and disbelief. An oppressive and shocking atmosphere enveloped everyone's hearts. Everyone knew that the world was about to change. Chapter 547. As a peerless genius of the Nantian family, South Celestial Venerable was famous throughout the world. He was seen as the most likely person to become a supreme being in the Nantian family in the past 1,000 years. He was also the undisputed successor of the next family head. In the end, he died in Ling Xiao's hands. All of this made everyone feel like they were dreaming. However, The headless corpse in South Celestial Venerable's head in Ling Xiao's hand clearly told them that South Celestial Venerable was indeed dead. Ling Xiao walked down from the void, exuding a powerful aura. His white robe was peerless, and his eyes were sharp. The South Celestial Venerable in his hand died with his eyes wide open. The people of the Nantian clan suddenly shuddered. South Celestial Venerable was dead, and South Tianjua had returned. Perhaps the human emperor, who was chasing after Azure Dragon, would be back soon. At that time, who would be able to withstand the wrath of the Supreme? Especially Nantianchi, who was trembling all over. His eyes were filled with terror. As the great elder of the Nantian family in Heavenly God City, he was responsible for South Celestial Venerable's death. However, Nantianchi also felt wronged. South Celestial Venerable was about to kill Ling Xiao. Who knew the result would be so unexpected? Nantianchi shivered and looked at Ling Xiao. His eyes were filled with frenzied killing intent. He roared with a trembling voice. Ling Xiao, you deserve to die. Boom. A vast and terrifying aura burst out from Nantianchi's body. The aura of a mysterious yellow and pure black filled the air. His half-step supreme being cultivation had completely burst out, causing the surrounding people's expression to change. They hurriedly retreated. How dare you kill South Celestial Venerable? How dare you? I will skin you alive and suppress your soul in the 9 underworlds. I will make you beg for death. Nantianchi's hatred reached its peak. He slammed his palm toward Ling Xiao. The heaven and earth trembled, and a powerful power of law filled the air. Although a half-step supreme being's full strength wasn't as invincible as a supreme being's, it was still invincible. A joke. He wants to kill me, but I can't kill him? Old man, I think the Nantian family members are used to being overbearing. A cold glint flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes as he threw South Celestial Venerable's head at Nantianchi. Nantianchi was shocked. He quickly retracted his aura, and carefully grabbed South Celestial Venerable's head. However, he suddenly heard a sonic boom. Whoosh! It was a black and white brick, flowing with yin and yang qi. It looked very mysterious. Nantianchi's eyes were red and he slapped it. However, in the next moment, Nantianchi felt that something was wrong. The brick unleashed a vast and unparalleled power. It came crashing down like a divine mountain, shattering Nantianchi's palm into pieces. Boom! When Nantianchi's palm hit the brick, it was as if he had hit a divine mountain. There was a rebounding force that made his arm numb. He was sent flying dozens of feet away. His qi and blood were in turmoil, and a trace of blood flowed out of the corner of his mouth. Old man, you won't be so lucky next time. I'll smash your face. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. The heavenly steel of sun and moon was a unique treasure. It wasn't a supreme weapon, but it was more powerful than one. In his previous life, Shang Guanming had slapped many half-step supreme beings to death. Even the real supreme beings were afraid of it. The heavenly steel of sun and moon was very sturdy. That was why it could withstand South Celestial Venerable's mysterious broken saber. Little bastard, die. Nantianchi was furious. His eyes were cold as the power of law spread around him. 2 rays of yellow and black divine light shot up into the sky, and turned into 2 mysterious divine chains of order. They flew toward Ling Xiao. A half-step supreme with the tribulation of 2 symbols? He's not easy to deal with. Ling Xiao sighed. His eyes flashed as he used the greater teleportation divine ability. He disappeared from the spot and reappeared hundreds of feet away. However, the 2 divine chains of order were very intelligent. They pierced through the void and chased after Ling Xiao. They contained the power of law of destruction, and were extremely powerful. Boom! Ling Xiao threw out a punch. His physical body was unparalleled. Dragon's aura filled the air. His powerful punch couldn't do anything to the 2 divine chains of order. Clang! The heavenly steel of sun and moon was thrown out again. The mysterious yin and yang qi circulated. This time, it directly destroyed the 2 divine chains of order. Then it flew toward Nantianchi. Kill! A black saber appeared in Nantianchi's hand. It flowed with a mysterious supreme's aura. It was a quasi-supreme weapon. It flew across the sky and slashed toward the heavenly steel of sun and moon. Nantianchi knew how terrifying the heavenly steel of sun and moon was. Therefore, he didn't choose to fight it head-on. Instead, he used the power of law to entangle it. He wanted to take away Ling Xiao's unique treasure. With his half-step supreme vision, he could tell that Ling Xiao didn't recognize him as its master. Boom! The black saber slashed on the heavenly steel of sun and moon. Terrifying divine light exploded. Just as Nan Tianqi was about to take the heavenly steel of sun and moon, Ling Xiao summoned it back with a thought. Everyone, let's kill Ling Xiao together. Kill that old goat, and that stinking Taoist. Let's kill them all to avenge our young master. Chun Yang's eyes were red as he roared. Suddenly, the experts of the Nantian family surrounded Ling Xiao. In addition to Nan Tianqi, there were two other half-step supreme experts in the Nantian family. Their auras were extremely terrifying. They rushed toward the old goat and Taoist Wuliang respectively. Bastards of the Nantian family, come here. I'll kill you all. The old goat sneered. His body was like lightning. In an instant, he appeared behind a middle-aged expert of the Nantian family. Then he kicked out with his hoof and kicked his head directly. Crack. Blood splattered. The middle-aged expert's head was kicked into his body by the old goat. He didn't even make a sound before he died. Bastard, you're courting death. The half-step supreme expert of the Nantian family was an old man with a malicious face. His eyes flashed coldly. He slapped his palm toward the old goat. The huge palm print was like a divine mountain. It was extremely terrifying. You're the one courting death. The old goat sneered and suddenly spat out a golden flame from his mouth. It crossed the void and turned into a golden lotus. It instantly enveloped the sinister-looking old man. Boom! Blazing flames rose, containing an aura that could incinerate heaven and earth. The old man's expression changed. It was as if he had been electrocuted. He immediately tried to dodge. You think you can dodge? The old goat sneered. His eyes were filled with killing intent. This time he was completely enraged. Divine light gushed out of his mouth. A golden three-legged, two-eared cauldron flew through the sky. It emitted a dazzling divine light. Runes intertwined on it, and it was filled with boundless heaven-devouring flames. It suppressed the old man. The world around the heaven-devourer cauldron began to tremble violently. In his previous life, Ling Xiao had used the heaven-devourer cauldron to dominate the world. There was nothing it couldn't burn. Chapter 548. Kill. Taoist Wuliang and another middle-aged half-step supreme martial artist in silver armor were engaged in a great battle. The middle-aged man was surrounded by sword aura. The red flying sword in his hand was emitting a sharp murderous intent. Every time the sword fell, it was as if the Milky Way was reversed. It was extremely terrifying. On the other hand, Taoist Wuliang had a faint smile on his face. He looked very calm. However, he waved the horsetail whisk in his hand. 3,000 silk threads and mysterious runes flew out and shattered all the sword chi in the surroundings. At the same time, Taoist Wuliang's palm spat out a mysterious light. It transformed into white, black, yellow, red, and green lightning in the void and blasted towards the middle-aged man. This was the great five elements heavenly thunder. Under Taoist Wuliang's control, it was as if the heaven and earth were angry. The five elements heavenly thunder descended to exercise the power of heaven's punishment. The middle-aged man was well versed in swordsmanship, so he was restrained by the great five elements heavenly thunder. Lightning filled the sky and surged towards him, making him look extremely miserable. What? Everyone was shocked. Ling Xiao's combat power was so terrifying that it was enough to shock them. What they didn't expect was that the old goat with a foul mouth and the wretched Taoist Wuliang beside Ling Xiao would have such monstrous battle prowess, suppressing the two half-step supreme beings of the Nantian family. Although they were half-step supreme martial artists who had not gone through the calamity of four symbols, they were far stronger than ordinary emperors. Senior brothers, what should we do? The star son of the Star Palace looked at Qi Sha and Pejun with a cold murderous intent in his eyes. Let's go together. Ask the Supreme Elder and a few great elders to kill Ling Xiao and take the inheritance from him. Qi Sha and Pejun's eyes were filled with greed. At that moment, they were convinced that Ling Xiao must have obtained the supreme inheritance from the divine stone. Otherwise, it was impossible for him to have such insane combat power. Supreme Elder, Please kill Ling Xiao for the Star Palace. The Star Son of the Star Son of the Star Son said respectfully to a figure behind him. There were 4 white-haired old men standing there. They were all wearing starry robes. Their auras looked very ordinary, but there seemed to be scenes of stars disappearing in their eyes. This was especially true for the skinny old man in the lead. He was surrounded by 4-colored divine light, and when he opened and closed his eyes, there was a mysterious vision of the world being destroyed. When he stepped out, the world began to tremble. What? A half-step supreme being who has survived the tribulation of 4 symbols? Someone exclaimed in shock. His eyes were filled with shock. If an Emperor Realm expert wanted to become a supremacy, he would have to go through the tribulations of the 4 symbols of earth, water, wind, and fire. Only then would he be able to condense the 3 flowers above his head and gather the 5 chi in his chest. Only after going through the tribulations of the supremacy could he become a true supremacy. The skinny elder from Star Palace in front of him was actually an expert who had passed through the calamity of 4 symbols. He was only half a step away from becoming a real supreme. This kind of powerhouse was not someone Nan Tianqi could compare to. He possessed a terrifying might that was close to that of a supreme being. Boom. That skinny old man opened his turbid eyes. It was as if he could split the heavens and earth apart. A terrifying sword radiance that traversed the heavens and earth struck towards Ling Xiao. It was vast and mighty, containing a peerless killing power, and it slashed down towards Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao prepared to die. When Nan Tianqi felt the attack, a ferocious killing intent appeared in his eyes. He exploded with terrifying power, and slashed toward Ling Xiao with his saber. The saber essence was eternal. It was like the Milky Way, illuminating the firmament. The saber and the sword slashed toward Ling Xiao, as if he was in a desperate situation. A half-step supreme being from Star Palace? Sensing that fatal killing intent, Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of incomparably cold sharpness. Boom. But at this moment the earth began to tremble. A terrifying dragon roar shook the firmament. The white jade square cracked, and a yellow dragon flew out. It exploded with terrifying power. It opened its mouth and swallowed the terrifying killing intents of the saber and the sword. Who is it? Nan Tianqi and the skinny supreme elder from Star Palace had a flash of light in their eyes. They were shocked as they looked afar. They all sensed that someone had intervened from a very far distance just now, and that was why they were able to block their killing blow. Nantian clan and Star Palace, what a pair of old farts. How dare they team up to attack a young man? They are as shameless as they were in the past. A faint yet ethereal voice sounded. In the distant sky, divine light filled the air and earth chi rose. It was as if a pure white lotus had bloomed. A middle-aged man in white robes strolled over. His expression was calm and indifferent. The middle-aged man had a head of white hair that danced in the wind. He looked very elegant. His face was extremely handsome, as if it was carved by a knife. His eyes were filled with vicissitudes of life, as if the heavens and the earth were changing in them. He walked over in the sky. The heavens and the earth were buzzing and trembling. There was a mysterious vibration, as if they were cheering for their king. The middle-aged man looked mysterious and ethereal. He did not seem ordinary at all, as if he was a supreme divine king. He was awe-inspiring and inviolable. It's a supreme being? Someone cried out in alarm as he felt his entire body tremble uncontrollably. The pressure that came from the depths of his soul caused him to feel fear in his heart. No, it's not a supreme being. It's just a half-supreme being. Nan Tianqi's eyes flashed coldly. He stared at the middle-aged man and said, "Who are you?" Ling Xiao and the Nantian clan have a huge grudge against each other. If you leave now, you will win the friendship of the Nantian clan. Although he was only a half-step supreme being, Nan Tianqi felt a strong sense of threat. His heart couldn't help but tremble. Grandfather, it's grandfather. Luoluo, who was standing beside the moon goddess, was stunned. She was pleasantly surprised and shouted. The middle-aged man in white who was walking over from afar was Li Chunfeng. Ling Xiao was also slightly taken aback. This white-robed middle-aged man was completely different from the sloppy old man in his memory. However, Ling Xiao still recognized him as Li Chunfeng. Stinky Taoist, this guy looks extraordinary. He's not tainted by the secular world. He's even more handsome than you. The old goat's eyes flashed as he chuckled. This old man only knows how to show off. But compared to me, he's still a little lacking. Taoist Wuliang curled his lips and said disdainfully. However, he had to admit that Li Chuanfeng's temperament was extraordinary. Even he was almost convinced by him. Was this the temperament of a feng shui master? It was indeed unique. Chapter 549. Your friendship with the Nantian family? The Nantian family is just a bunch of ungrateful and shameless people. Kneel down and commit suicide, so that I won't dirty my hands. Li Chunfeng said flatly. His eyes were deep and indifferent. The dragon aura around him rose as though the entire heavenly god city was shaking with his footsteps. Hearing Li Chuanfeng's words, Nantian Qi and the rest of the Nantian family were filled with cold killing intent. Ah, you're just a half-step to Supreme Being. How dare you be so arrogant in front of the Nantian family? You'll definitely die today. Nantian Qi did not recognize Li Chunfeng at that moment. He was so angry that he laughed. As for the skinny elder of Star Palace, his eyes were filled with astonishment. Although Li Chunfeng wasn't a supreme martial artist, the aura on his body made him feel extremely dangerous. Great Elder, he seems to be a surviving member of the Li family. An elder of the Nantian family trembled. His eyes were filled with shock. He seemed to have thought of something and quickly told Nantian Qi. What? A surviving member of the Li family? Nantian Qi was shocked and looked over. Li Chunfeng did not hide his face. After taking a closer look, Nantian Qi immediately understood who he was. A surviving member of the Li family, Li Chunfeng. Ah. There's a path to heaven but you don't want to take it. There's no door to hell but you barge in. So it's the remnants of the Li family. Li Chunfeng, you've been a coward for 2,000 years. Are you finally willing to come out? When the master returns, you'll definitely die. Nantianchi laughed out loud. His eyes were filled with incomparable coldness. At the same time he was excited. If he could kill Li Chunfeng, it would be a great achievement. It might even be able to offset the crime of South Holy Master's death. Nantianjue? You'll die today. Nantianjue will die too. But you won't be able to see it. Li Chunfeng looked at Nantianchi indifferently as though he was looking at an ant. Nantianchi looked as though he had been humiliated. He laughed coldly and said, Arrogant. I'd like to see how much you've improved in these 2,000 years. Rumble. A powerful aura exploded. Nantianchi gave up on Ling Xiao. The battle saber in his hand emitted a blazing radiance as he slashed it down at Nantianchi. Nantianchi knew the secret of the Feng Shui family. The Feng Shui family was cursed and could never become a supreme being. Hence, Li Chunfeng was only a half-supreme being even after 2,000 years. He wanted to test Li Chuanfeng's strength. If Nantianchi's, then Qi would be able to kill him. Of Feng Shui Qi's a great achievement. Is death. Ling Xiao Qi. Ling Xiao sneered. He knew how strange a Feng Shui master's methods were. Even if Li Chunfeng couldn't prove himself as a supreme, a Feng Shui master at his level had even killed a supreme before. What was a mere Nantianchi to him? Li Chunfeng remained calm in the face of Nantianchi's peerless saber light. He simply extended a finger and pointed at it. Li Chuanfeng's finger was as white as jade. It was extremely light, but it suddenly emitted an eternal radiance. It landed on Nantianchi's Fenqi. There was no sound, but Nantianchi's Fenqi shattered. The Fenqi exploded into a rain of light like a mirror. Nantianchi's Fenqi pierced through the void and pointed at Nantianchi's glabella. What? Nantianchi's expression changed drastically. He felt a fatal threat and retreated without hesitation. But it was too late. Puff. Nantianchi's glabella exploded. Even his primordial spirit in his sea of consciousness couldn't escape. His vitality was destroyed, and his soul was completely destroyed. Bang! Nantianchi fell to the ground. His eyes were wide open. He died with a grievance. His eyes were filled with disbelief and fear. But he had already lost his vitality. He was dead. A half-supreme being was killed with a single finger. Everyone was dumbfounded. A half-step supreme being who had survived the tribulation of 2 divine beasts had died just like that? The people of the Nantian family were especially shocked. They were still cursing Li Chunfeng arrogantly, but now they felt like their throats were being strangled. Their eyes were filled with fear, and they couldn't say a word. And the two of you? Li Chunfeng's expression didn't change after killing Nantian Qi. It was as if he had just killed 2 ants. Then he looked at the other 2 half-supreme beings of the Nantian family. Li Chunfeng, how dare you kill us? Our family master will not let you go. The expressions of the 2 half-step supremes changed greatly. They were so frightened that their bodies trembled, and they wanted to escape without thinking. Boom! Li Chunfeng grabbed at the void. His huge palm seemed to be able to wrap the world in it. It contained a mysterious power of law. The 2 half-supreme beings couldn't resist at all. They were caught by Li Chunfeng in an instant. When Li Chunfeng clenched his fist, the 2 half-supreme beings exploded into a mist of blood before they could make a sound. How can he be so strong? Qi Sha Junpe and Tan Lang's eyes were filled with shock. Those were 3 half-step supremes. Even in the war god continent, they were considered top-notch experts. Yet Li Chunfeng had squashed them as if they were ants. The great way of feng shui, the power of yin and yang, the Li family. The Li family. You are the family master of the Li family, Li Chunfeng? The skinny supreme elder of Star Palace revealed an extremely shocked expression. He seemed to have felt something and he said solemnly, "Yes, it's time for you to leave." Li Chunfeng? This name was very unfamiliar. Many young geniuses revealed incomparably puzzled expressions. They had never heard of it at all. The first elder of the Precious Treasure Pavilion, Jian Bummy, Granny Gui, and the other old monsters shuddered. Their eyes were filled with astonishment. It was rumored that the Li family of feng shui was destroyed by the power of heaven's wrath 2,000 years ago. Why was Li Chunfeng, the family master of the Li family, still alive? 2,000 years ago, although Li Chunfeng didn't become a supreme being, he was famous in the war god continent. He had great combat strength. He had once killed a supreme being with the cultivation of a half-supreme being. The feng shui family had all kinds of strange means. It was impossible to guard against them. Even a supreme being was afraid of them. Therefore, although the feng shui family was punished by heaven and couldn't become a supreme being, they were still one of the most powerful hidden ancient families in the war god continent. No one dared to underestimate them. Yes, I am Li Chunfeng. Chapter 550. I didn't expect the people from Star Palace to be a bunch of ungrateful and shameless people. If Ling Xiao hadn't saved you, you would have died in the God's Stone, right? You deserve to die for biting the hand that feeds you. Li Chunfeng's gaze fell on Tan Lang, Qi Sha, Pajun and the Supreme Elder of Star Palace, revealing a cold murderous intent. Li Chunfeng, you are about to die and you still dare to be so arrogant? When the Supreme Masters of Star Palace and Nantian clan arrive, it will be your death. The eyes of the Supreme Elder of Star Palace turned cold and he laughed coldly. Although Li Chunfeng was strong, he was a half-step Supreme Master who had passed through the 4 symbols calamity. He wasn't someone the 3 pieces of trash from Nantian clan could compare with. Although he was wary of Li Chunfeng, he wasn't afraid. Is that so? Li Chunfeng smiled faintly. A vast power of heaven and earth pressed down on the Supreme Elder of Star Palace. Set up the 4 symbols star formation and kill him. The great Elder of Star Palace's gaze turned cold as he shouted. Boom. A strong aura exploded from his body. The great Elder of Star Palace took the east side. A green dragon traversed the void. The starlight above the 9 heavens shone brightly like a light pillar, causing his aura to soar. As for the other 3 elders of Star Palace, they took up positions in the west, south and north respectively. They communicated with the power of Star, and formed a mysterious connection with the Supreme Elder of Star Palace. Rumble. The sky changed color. The stars in the west shone brightly. A white tiger leaped out ferociously. The starry sky in the south and north was also dazzling. A powerful vermilion bird and a black tortoise that covered the sea appeared. Green dragon, white tiger, vermilion bird and black tortoise. The 4 sacred beasts appeared in the void. With the power of 4 supreme stars, They formed the four symbols star formation. A terrifying aura exploded and pressed down on Li Chunfeng. Four symbols star formation? With the four half-step Supreme Masters communicating with the Supreme Stars, the four sacred beasts should be able to unleash the power of a Supreme Master. Jian Bumi exclaimed in surprise. His eyes were filled with solemnity. Even if Li Chunfeng was a feng shui master, could he really withstand the might of a Supreme Master? Everyone's hearts were in their throats. Rumble. The four godly beasts flew across the void. The highest elder of Star Palace, who was the leader, was filled with the power of Star. His aura soared and he had a feeling that he had broken through the bottleneck. His gaze was cold as he grabbed a star sword. Accompanied by a terrifying dragon roar, he slashed at Li Chunfeng. Die. The elders of the four-star palaces were filled with murderous intent. Heaven and earth trembled, and the clouds moved. If it wasn't for the powerful formation set up by the ancestors of the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon, it would have been razed to the ground in an instant. Four symbols stellar formation? If it was set up by the four supreme martial artists, they might be able to summon the true spirits of the four symbols divine beasts. However, you guys are still a bit lacking. Li Chunfeng's eyes glinted. He stomped his foot, and the Zhou Tian rumbled. The earth churned and yellow mist filled the air. Death Qi filled the air, as if it was going to turn this place into a land of death. Roar. A terrifying dragon roar pierced the sky. A huge yellow dragon rushed out from the ground, and lifted Li Chunfeng up. It roared at the four symbols divine beasts in the void. In an instant, lightning flashed and the dragon roar shook the sky. A terrifying aura filled the air. It was ferocious. Dragon Quake Scripture? This is the Dragon Quake Scripture of the Li family. It shakes the dragon veins of the earth and explodes with unparalleled killing power. It even has the power to kill gods and demons. Someone exclaimed in shock. His eyes were filled with shock. If the four symbols stellar formation borrowed the power of the stars, then the Dragon Quake Scripture was the change of heaven and earth. It used the dragon veins of the earth as its foundation to explode with unparalleled power. Boom. With Heavenly God City as the center, the land within a radius of 1,000,000 miles began to tremble. Boundless earth chi rose up. That profound yellow dragon was like an ancient true dragon that had descended into the world. Its dragon might was extremely powerful. Compared to the profound yellow dragon, the originally incomparably powerful Azure Dragon had become so insignificant. Dragon Quake Scripture? The great elder of Star Palace looked solemn, but he wasn't afraid at all. With a tap of his finger, the four divine beasts pounced across the sky and pounced towards the dark yellow dragon. Roar. Ferocious power filled the sky. The terrifying fluctuation seemed to be about to shatter the heaven and earth. Above the 9 heavens, divine light lingered and fog rose. The battle of the 5 great divine beasts had officially begun. Facing the 4 divine beasts' attack, the profound yellow dragon showed no signs of fear. With a sweep of its tail, it sent the white tiger flying. Kacha. The enormous profound yellow dragon claw was incomparably sharp. It grabbed the vermilion bird's wing and tore it apart. Rumble. The dragon scales around the huge yellow dragon seemed to have turned into terrifying blades. They shot towards Black Tortoise and Azure Dragon at an unimaginable speed. At the same time, the huge yellow dragon opened its mouth and tried to swallow the severely injured vermilion bird. The huge yellow dragon's ferocious power filled the sky. The old monsters below were terrified. Although they knew that the 5 great divine beasts, including the huge yellow dragon, were formed by the rules and power, their ferocious power was no different from a real divine beast. They did not doubt that if they were to intervene in the battle, even a half-step to supreme being would be torn into pieces in an instant. Qi Sha, Pajun, and Tan Lang's eyes were filled with solemnity. However, when they saw Ling Xiao in the distance, their expressions changed drastically. Ling Xiao's eyes were cold and filled with murderous intent. He took advantage of the opportunity and charged towards them. Stop him, stop Ling Xiao for me. Tan Lang roared with a tinge of fear in his eyes. Even Holy Master Nan had died in Ling Xiao's hands. Although they were the stars of Star Palace, they were weaker than Holy Master Nan. How could they be Ling Xiao's match? Boom. The remaining experts of Star Palace were shocked. However, They could not disobey the orders of the 3 stars. They gritted their teeth and charged towards Ling Xiao. The strongest among them was only a level 9 martial emperor. The 4 half-step to supreme beings were already restrained by Li Chunfeng. How could they be Ling Xiao's match? Haha, your opponent is me. Master Taoist too. Master Taoist will send you to reincarnation. The old goat and Taoist Wuliang both smiled maliciously. They blocked the experts who were rushing towards Ling Xiao, leaving 7 kills, army destroyer, and greedy wolf to Ling Xiao. Qisha, Pajun and Tanlang? How arrogant to use the name of an ancient star. I will send you to meet Holy Master Nan. Chapter 551. Crack. Golden lightning suffused the surroundings while accompanied by Ling Xiao's monstrous vital energy. A golden true dragon charged out from the enormous fist. It was ferocious and monstrous, and it enveloped Qisha, Junpe, and Tanlang. A terrifying glow swept through the heavens and the earth as the heavenly dragon's physique erupted. Ling Xiao seemed to have transformed into a primeval true dragon, and the terrifying aura of his fist caused Qisha, Junpe, and Tanlang's expressions to change drastically as they felt a wave of lethal danger. Qisha descend. Junpe descend. Tanlang descend. Qisha, Junpe, and Tanlang revealed a trace of insanity on their faces as they roared at the same time. Rumble. An incomparably powerful aura soared into the sky. Above the 9 heavens, the sky shook and the stars trembled. The 3 big stars became incomparably hot. The terrifying power of the stars descended like 3 heavenly pillars. It was the stellar energy of Qisha, Junpe, and Tanlang. It was vast, and it poured into the 3 of them, causing their auras to start rising explosively. In practically an instant, Qisha, Junpe, and Tanlang's auras broke through to the monarch realm, and they rose all the way to the peak of the monarch realm, connecting with the energy of 3 supreme stars. Unfortunately, borrowed energy is still borrowed in the end. A cold glow flashed through Ling Xiao's eyes, and the aura of his fist grew even stronger. It tore through the sky in a dazzling and resplendent manner. Qisha fist. Qisha's killing intent surged while his eyes were filled with a ghastly cold glow. He slammed his fist forward, and it was like a supreme star had collided with him. It erupted with peerless divine energy. Junpe and Tanlang activated their supreme stars at the same time, and slammed their attacks towards Ling Xiao. Break. Ling Xiao spoke indifferently. A dragon's roar that shook the sky resounded as the golden true dragon fist swept through the heavens and the earth. It instantly shattered Qisha, Junpe, and Tanlang's fists before smashing forcefully against their bodies. Bang! Starlight shone resplendently on the 3 supreme stars while runes suffused them. Ling Xiao's peerless divine energy was swiftly neutralized before being obliterated. However, the 3 of them were still blasted over 100 m away by Ling Xiao's fist, and their faces were slightly pale. A quasi-supreme weapon? Ling Xiao's eyes flickered. He immediately recognized the starry robes on 7 murders, destruction army, and greed. The starry robes emitted a resplendent glow, intertwining with the power of laws. They were also quasi-supreme weapons. Ling Xiao's current physical strength was incomparably powerful. After condensing the heavenly dragon body, his physical body was comparable to those young ancient divine beasts. If it wasn't for a quasi-supreme weapon, it wouldn't have been able to withstand a single blow from Ling Xiao. How abnormal! The 3 stars summoned the divine energy of the stars, and their cultivations rose explosively to the peak of the monarch realm. Yet they were actually unable to resist a single attack from Ling Xiao. Someone exclaimed in shock. His eyes were filled with shock. Ling Xiao's physical body is too strong, almost capable of destroying the world. Could he really be from the Dragon Clan? Some people doubted Ling Xiao's identity. After all, how could a human have such a terrifying physical body? The 3 stars are in danger today. However, if Ling Xiao were to kill them, he would offend Star Palace completely. When the master of Star Palace arrives, Ling Xiao would definitely be dead. Even if Ling Xiao didn't kill the 3 stars, would Star Palace let him go? This young man is quite courageous. Previously he killed South Celestial Master. If he were to kill the 3 stars, His name would definitely spread throughout War God continent. I wonder if he would be able to turn misfortune into blessings today. Everyone was in a heated discussion. When they looked at Ling Xiao, their gazes were filled with admiration and sympathy. Granny Gui, I've already sent a message to Master. I wonder if Master would be able to make it in time. If Ling Xiao were to kill the 3 stars, he would be completely at odds with Nantian family and Star Palace. Moon Goddess's eyes revealed a tinge of worry as she spoke slowly. Palace Master should be able to make it in time. This young man doesn't look like someone who would die young. Don't worry, he would definitely be able to turn misfortune into blessings. Granny Gui smiled faintly and there was a glimmer of light in her eyes. Rumble. Ling Xiao's eyes were burning with murderous intent. He activated the violent dragon superpower and exploded with extreme physical strength in an attempt to kill the 3 stars. Boundless fist radiance fell, and the dragon power was extremely terrifying. It directly pierced through the starlight pillar and smashed onto Qisha's chest. Boundless rays of light exploded and runes filled the air. The starry robe on Qisha's body was activated to the extreme, but he was still injured. Bang! Ling Xiao kicked out and sent Pajun, who was attacking him from behind, flying. Then he grabbed Qisha and unleashed his unparalleled divine strength to collide with Tanlang. Rumble! Rays of divine light filled the air and boundless runes exploded. Qisha and Tanlang were both dizzy from the collision, and their eyes were filled with humiliation. The body of the heavenly dragon was too strong. It was so strong that Ling Xiao could break through everything with his strength. No matter what kind of superpower the 3 stars used, they were all broken by Ling Xiao's simple punch. If the 3 of them did not have a quasi-supreme weapon to protect themselves, they would have been killed by Ling Xiao. Rumble! Qisha roared furiously and his eyes were filled with madness. He roared, "Juniors, if Ling Xiao doesn't die today we will. Use the power of kill and break and kill him." Kill. Alright, let's fight it out with him. Pajun and Tanlang roared too. They knew that it was a matter of life and death. If they did not fight with their lives, they would die in Ling Xiao's hands before the master of Star Palace came back. Rumble. The power of starlight around Qisha, Pajun and Tanlang trembled violently. Then, it instantly gathered in the void and faintly showed signs of merging together. The heaven and earth trembled, and the wind and thunder exploded. A terrifying and mysterious power of law descended and landed on the 3 stars. There seemed to be a ray of black divine light that pierced through the void and destroyed everything. Kill and break and break. This is the ultimate killing power formed by Qisha, Pajun and Tanlang, the 3 ominous stars. It can even kill a half-supreme master. Those who are not supreme masters can't fight against it. Ling Xiao actually forced them to such an extent? Many of the old monsters trembled, and their eyes were filled with disbelief. Converging the power of kill, break and Tanlang meant that the 3 stars were going all out. Converging the power of the 3 supreme stars in addition to the power of the 3 stars, the ultimate killing blow, was something that even a real supreme master would have to take seriously. However, after the 3 stars attack, if they could not kill Ling Xiao, they would become lambs waiting to be slaughtered. They would have no power to fight back. Rumble. Chapter 552. The Sun in the Void, Eternal Darkness. No one could describe the brilliance of the black divine light. The surrounding void was like a spider's web as it silently appeared before Ling Xiao in the blink of an eye. A fatal threat shrouded Ling Xiao's heart. This was the power of Sha, Pa and Lang's 3 supreme stars. They contained the complete law of slaughter. That terrifying black divine light was formed from the law of slaughter, capable of destroying all life. It was comparable to the might of a supreme being. The power of the slaughter order? It's a pity that it's still too young. Ling Xiao's eyes shone with a mysterious light. In the face of this fatal blow, there was no trace of panic in his eyes. The black divine light came across the sky with a mysterious trace. Ling Xiao's eyes seemed to see the trajectory of the black divine light and the surrounding power of the order. Break. Ling Xiao spat out a word. The wordless heavenly book emitted a brilliant divine light, and a mysterious vortex appeared between Ling Xiao's eyebrows. Wang. The heavens and earth trembled. That horrifying slaughter god light was directly devoured by the wordless heavenly book and turned into nourishment for it. As Ling Xiao's cultivation increased, his control over the wordless heavenly book became stronger. He could now use the wordless heavenly book to swallow the power of the order. The slaughter order that Qi Sha, Pajun, and Tanlang had used together contained the powerful slaughter order. It happened to be restrained by the wordless heavenly book and was swallowed by it. Rumble. Everyone saw that the terrifying slaughtering divine light was extremely powerful, but when it came into contact with Ling Xiao, it actually disappeared in an instant. No, this is impossible. Tanlang's eyes widened in disbelief. The wolf-shattering divine power was dissolved, and the 3 stars suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. They suffered an incomparably powerful backlash, and their auras instantly became incomparably dispirited. They had never imagined that Ling Xiao would be able to neutralize the wolf-slaying divine power so easily. Originally, they thought that even if Ling Xiao was not destroyed, he would be seriously injured and lose the ability to fight again. However, they could not accept such an outcome. He dissolved the slaughter order in an instant. Our young friend Ling Xiao has a big secret. The great elder of the precious treasure pavilion sighed softly as a strange look appeared in his eyes. To be able to resolve the killing-breaking wolf layout, which is comparable to the power of a supreme being, young friend Ling is truly a genius. Jian Bumi, Xiong Laohe, and the other old monsters exclaimed. Their eyes were filled with respect. In the past, Ling Xiao was just a junior who knew the art of stone. But now, they suddenly realized that this young man's martial talent was beyond their expectations. They began to take him seriously. Rumble. After the wordless heavenly book devoured the wolf's godly force, a terrifying force of slaughter erupted, causing the wordless heavenly book to tremble violently. It even affected Ling Xiao's soul, causing him to be slightly injured. Fortunately, the wordless heavenly book was powerful enough, and Ling Xiao's primordial spirit was also sturdy enough. In the end, they still managed to suppress the divine power of the wolf. Looks like I was too careless. Qi Sha, Junpe, and Tanlang are only in the noble realm. Although the killing-breaking wolf's godly force is comparable to the power of a supreme being, it is still a rootless duckweed. If I had really used the wordless heavenly book to devour the power of the precepts of a supreme being, my primordial spirit would have turned into ashes by now. Ling Xiao sighed softly. Activating the power of the wordless heavenly book to resolve the situation was also a risky attempt by Ling Xiao. He also wanted to see how much control he had over the wordless heavenly book had. Although his primordial spirit was injured in the end, it was still worth it. After all, Ling Xiao had gained some insight on how to control the wordless heavenly book. He would be more confident in facing life and death crises in the future. The faces of the 3 stars paled, and when Ling Xiao's cold gaze landed on them, it made them tremble even more. Their eyes were filled with incomparable terror. The 3 of you, I will send you to the afterlife. Ling Xiao said indifferently. A terrifying killing intent surrounded him and shrouded the 3 stars. Ling Xiao, we won't let you go even if we become ghosts. The palace master will definitely avenge us. No one in this world can save you. Ling Xiao, I curse you to die a horrible death. The eyes of the 3 stars all revealed an incomparably vicious expression as they looked at Ling Xiao and roared furiously. Ling Xiao, you little bastard, don't you dare hurt the 3 stars. Otherwise, I will make you beg for death. When the Supreme Elder of Star Palace heard the roars of the 3 stars, his face instantly changed. His eyes were filled with coldness, and he was about to break through the blockade of the Earth Dragon's vein to attack Ling Xiao. Old man, you can't even protect yourself and you still have the time to worry about others? Li Chunfeng stood on the head of the giant black dragon. His white hair was flying and his white robe was peerless. He had an unparalleled aura. He glanced at the Supreme Elder of Star Palace indifferently, and his eyes were filled with sharpness. Roar. The giant black dragon roared and the roar of the dragon shook the heavens and the earth. Its huge dragon tail swept across and instantly blew away the 3 divine beast shadows, vermilion bird, black tortoise and white tiger. Taking advantage of the moment when the Supreme Elder of Star Palace was distracted, it swallowed the green dragon. Rumble. The starlight pillar in the void shattered in an instant, and an extremely strong backfire spread out. The Star Palace Grand Elder's face turned pale in an instant, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Shit. The Supreme Elder of Star Palace was scared out of his wits, and his eyes were filled with terror. However, he had no chance at all. The giant black dragon was as fast as lightning, and it swallowed him straight away. Rumble. The death aura of the giant black dragon filled the air and murderous intent soared. The Supreme Elder of Star Palace was swallowed by the giant black dragon in an instant, and there was no corpse left. After swallowing the green dragon and the Supreme Elder of Star Palace, the giant black dragon seemed to have taken a great tonic. Its aura began to soar and suppress the remaining 3 divine beast shadows. It broke through their joint attack and swallowed the vermilion bird, black tortoise and white tiger. The 3 Supreme Elders of Star Palace were shocked. They wanted to escape, but they didn't have a chance. They also became nourishment for the giant black dragon. Roar. The terrifying roar of the dragon reverberated through the sky. After swallowing the 4 divine beasts and the 4 Supreme Elders, the giant black dragon's aura soared to the extreme. There was a vague feeling that it could suppress the 4 extremes of the universe and dominate all living things. Everyone looked at Li Chunfeng blankly, and they were speechless. The 3 half-step Supreme Elders of Nantian family had died in Li Chunfeng's hands. Then, the 3 Supreme Elders of Star Palace and the Supreme Elder of Star Palace had died. Li Chunfeng had already killed 7 half-step Supreme Elders. This kind of peerless ferocious power caused the eyes of those old monsters to be filled with incomparable fear and dread. Chapter 553. Rumble. Ling Zhao's eyes were deep and 2 terrifying light beams shot out. They gave off a strong mental strength fluctuation, as though they were going to destroy all real spirits. At the same time, 28 resplendent stars surrounded Ling Zhao, causing the power of his soul to skyrocket. The 28 stars revolved around Ling Zhao, and there were streaks of black lightning. They were the 28 soul morning nails. After Ling Zhao refined them, they gave off a terrifying power. With the Great Soul Destruction skill, the 28 soul morning nails had the power to destroy all primordial spirits. Although the 3 stars were seriously injured, the star robe on them was a quasi-supreme weapon, and its defense was strong. With the power of the Great Soul Destruction skill and soul morning nails, the 3 stars had no way to resist. Puff! The glabella of the 3 stars split open, and there was a bloody light. Their consciousness was instantly pierced through. Before the 3 blurry shadows were destroyed by the soul morning nails, a ray of light shot out from the wordless heaven book and swept them away. Rumble. After the primordial spirits were devoured, the physical bodies of the 3 stars were instantly destroyed. The 3 star robes and the 3 stars storage treasures were taken away by Ling Zhao. Above the void, there was a bloody mist swirling. Ling Zhao stood in the air, and his eyes were as vast as the starry sky. His white robe was whiter than snow and there was not a speck of bloody light on it. His peerless demeanor and bearing made countless people admire him. He really dared to kill the 3 stars? Ling Zhao, this bastard, is dead. When Star Emperor returns, it will be his death. Many disciples of Star Palace were stunned, and their eyes were filled with disbelief. In Star Palace, the 5 stars were the 5 peerless geniuses who led the younger generation of Star Palace. Every one of them had the potential to become a supreme being. But now Ling Zhao had slaughtered 3 stars in one go. If this news were to spread, it would shake the entire war god continent. Ling Zhao had killed a male holy master, and killed the 3 stars. He had the momentum of a flying dragon, and he would definitely become another rising star in war god continent. Li Chunfeng, you are courting death. Just then, a cold and angry voice was heard in the void. The clouds in the universe changed, and a terrifying figure appeared in the void. It was the South Heaven Jew. He was shrouded in endless light. His clothes were somewhat tattered, and his aura was somewhat violent. It seemed that he had been severely injured. Everyone was shocked. Nan Tianjua had returned. Could it be that he had really killed the Azure Dragon human sovereign? Yu Wanwan, the second prince, and the other members of the royal family of the ancient kingdom of dragons shuddered, and their faces paled. If the Azure Dragon human emperor were to die, the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon would fall apart in an instant. Li Chunfeng, 2,000 years ago, you annihilated my Li family and slaughtered my disciples. Today we will settle the score. When Li Chunfeng saw Nan Tianjue in the sky, his eyes turned red and his killing intent surged. As the saying goes, when enemies meet, their eyes blaze with hatred. Li Chunfeng and Nan Tianjue had a blood feud that would never end until one of them was dead. There was no room for reconciliation. Li Chunfeng, you'll pay with your life for killing my Nantian family's people. Nan Tianjue's eyes were cold and fiery. He had already obtained the Dragon Quake scripture and Purple Qi spiritual art. All that was left was Li Chunfeng's nature feng shui skill. As long as he could obtain the nature feng shui skill, he would be able to discover the secret of becoming a god. Therefore, Li Chunfeng would definitely die. Haha. What bullshit, Nantian family. You are just a bunch of ungrateful people who deceive the world. Today, not only will you die, but I will also bury the Nantian family with you. Li Chunfeng said coldly. The killing intent in his eyes was so intense that it seemed to have materialized. Rumble. As if it had sensed Li Chunfeng's anger, the giant yellow dragon under his feet began to boil violently. An earth-shattering dragon roar resounded as a terrifying divine aura rose and pounced towards Li Chunfeng. The earth began to tremble as an endless amount of earth energy rose. It was as if it had connected the two worlds of yin and yang. There was a mysterious intent realm that could shatter heaven and earth. Is this the nature feng shui skill? Even with the nature feng shui skill, you will still die. Nan Tianjue's eyes glowed with a scorching light. This was the nature feng shui skill that he had been waiting for 2,000 years. As soon as Li Chunfeng attacked, he could feel how extraordinary this secret skill was. If it was combined with the Purple Qi psychic skill, it might really be able to shatter heaven and earth, and connect the two worlds of man and God. Rumble. Nan Tianjue attacked without hesitation. He struck out with his palm and the world shook. An ancient stone gate appeared behind him. The stone gate was ancient and mysterious. It was filled with chaotic mist, as if there really was a supreme heavenly court, and a mysterious scene where thousands of gods gathered. When Nan Tianjue used the divine power of the southern heaven gate, it was more than 100 times stronger than the male heavenly master. Rumble. In the 9 heavens, the giant yellow dragon clashed with the southern heaven gate. The sky shook as if countless stars were shaking. Heaven and earth were about to return to nothingness. The terrifying supreme aura made the millions of living beings in heavenly God City tremble. A strong sense of fear surged from the depths of their souls. This is the divine power of a supreme being. The divine power of a supreme being. We can't see a supreme being, and the world can't be bullied. I wonder when we will be able to reach such a peerless supreme realm. Many of the old monsters began to tremble, and their eyes were filled with envy and excitement. Most of them were half-step supremes, but half-step supremes were like ants in front of true supremes. Half-step supremes had to go through the earth tribulation, water tribulation, wind tribulation, fire tribulation, and supreme tribulation before they could become supremes. Of the 5 legendary tribulations, there was an incomparably terrifying gap between each tribulation. However, while they were envious, they were also shocked. Li Chunfeng was only half-step supremes, but he was able to fight against Nan Tianjue. The legendary Feng Shui family, the clan forsaken by the heavens, really lived up to their reputation. The giant yellow dragon seemed to contain the boundless power of the earth. It clashed violently with the southern heaven gate. Every time it clashed, it would explode with dazzling divine light. Heavenly thunder rumbled and talismans exploded. As the void cracked, countless laws of heaven and earth and divine power of order were shattered. However, the crowd noticed that the giant yellow dragon's power was getting stronger. However, the southern heaven gate seemed to be unable to withstand the impact and began to crack. Myriad Feng Shui art, the power of the earth dragon vein. Using the Tao of Feng Shui to create changes in heaven and earth. It is indeed a supreme secret art. However, Li Chunfeng, you still have to die. Chapter 554. Nantian Scripture, Myriad of Purple Qi, Descent of the Gods. Nantianju said indifferently. It was as if his words were the law. Chaos filled the air around him as purple light poured down from the sky. Behind Nantianju, it was as if the door of the gods had opened. Terrifying figures appeared one after another, causing Nantianju's aura to rise to an unimaginable level. It was as if Nantianju had truly become the lord of the gods. His strength was unfathomable. You have merged the Nantian scripture and purple chi spiritual art into one. Nantianju, it seems like you haven't lived for 2,000 years in vain. Li Chuanfeng's eyes flickered as he said coldly. Rumble. Nantianju threw out a punch, causing the sky and earth to rumble. The giant yellow dragon instantly cracked and turned into endless mist. The entire sky and earth trembled. If it wasn't for the supreme Tao marks left behind by the past supremes of Heavenly God City, and the battle between Li Chunfeng and Nantianju in the 9 heavens, Heavenly God City and everyone would have been reduced to dust. Even so, there were still many people who were trembling all over, and their faces were extremely pale. They couldn't imagine how terrifying the Supreme's aura would be without the protection of Heavenly God City. Purple Chi Spiritual Art and Myriad Phenomenon Geomancy Art? Purple Chi Spiritual Art is the manifestation of the heavenly law, while Myriad Phenomenon Geomancy Art is the manifestation of the Great Earth Dragon vein. Both of them are supreme secret arts that lead directly to the Great Tao. They are indeed extraordinary. Ling Zhao's eyes flickered with astonishment. Li Chunfeng was indeed a peerless genius. He was able to create supreme secret arts like Purple Chi Spiritual Art and Myriad Phenomenon Geomancy Art when he was just a half-step supreme. It was no wonder that Nantianju was willing to annihilate the Li family for these 2 secret arts. From Ling Zhao's point of view, if these 2 secret techniques could be combined and become one with heaven and earth, it wouldn't be impossible for him to become a god. Boom. After Nantianju destroyed the giant yellow dragon, he charged towards Li Chunfeng with cold killing intent in his eyes. So what if you have merged the Purple Chi Spiritual Art and Nantian Scripture? Without the Myriad Phenomenon Geomancy Art, you will never know how terrifying these 2 secret arts are. Li Chuanfeng's eyes flickered with a hint of mockery. Limitless heaven and earth, yin and yang separation, said Li Chunfeng indifferently. Rumbling sounds could be heard as the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Boundless chaotic fog filled the air and instantly enveloped South Sky Ju. A surge of yin and yang qi rose up, with black and white colors revolving around it. It was as though the yin and yang qi of the beginning of the heavens had bound Nantianjue in the middle. The 5 elements give birth to life, and the 3 give birth to all things. Amidst the faint voice, it was as if a chicken egg had broken through the primal chaos fog. The chi of the 5 elements spread out. The clear chi rose and the turbid chi sank. In a mysterious space, mountains, rivers, seas, lakes, mountains, flowers, and trees all began to slowly evolve. When the heavenly Tao is first established, the world is filled with killing intent. Above the 9 heavens, a mysterious world appeared and trapped Nantianjue within. A horrifying killing intent exploded out as though the power of an entire world was crushing down on Nantianjue. This is the power of the world of fortune. I understand now. I finally understand. The Violet Chi Psychic Art and the Myriad Manifestations Geomancy Art are the supreme secret arts of the world of fortune. Nantianjue roared. His eyes were filled with astonishment. Creating a world out of the void, evolving with the power of the heavens and earth, and unleashing the killing intent of the world to suppress a sovereign. Such peerless divine power was simply unheard of. Countless people were dumbfounded. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. Li Chunfeng stood above the 9 heavens, absorbing the power of the heavens and earth. Purple Qi and Xianhuang Qi rose up, and evolved into a mysterious world to suppress Nantianjue. Although a sovereign was strong, how could he resist the power of an entire world? Ling Zhao's eyes were also filled with astonishment. Sovereign experts could cultivate divine power and open up a small world in their bodies. However, that was just water without roots. How could it compare to the power of the world of fortune? Ling Zhao could imagine that if these 2 secret arts were to be spread out, countless sovereigns in the war god continent would rush over to snatch them. If they really possessed the power to open up a world, they might really possess immortality and the possibility of breaking through to the divine spirit realm. Rumble. The chaotic mist shook and the killing intent of the yin and yang boiled. The five elements' divine light pierced through everything. Nan Tianjue instantly fell into an extremely dangerous situation. The clothes on his body were pierced and the rules of order filled the air. The powerful sovereign's divine might couldn't resist the killing intent of the world. However, there wasn't the slightest bit of fear in Nan Tianjue's eyes. Instead, there was a tinge of cold killing intent. Star Emperor. What are you waiting for? Why aren't you attacking? Nan Tianjue roared. Boom. Above the heavens, there seemed to be countless starlight descending. Huge stars rotated and the Milky Way spread out. It was mysterious and dazzling. A young man in white stepped across the sky. He was shrouded in the brilliant starlight and looked extremely mysterious. His expression was indifferent. There seemed to be an endless starry sky in his eyes. He threw out a blow. It looked light, but it contained a terrifying killing intent. His target wasn't the world, but Li Chunfeng, the master of Star Palace. Star Emperor? Li Chunfeng's eyes widened in shock. There was a tinge of solemnity in his eyes. From Star Emperor, Li Chunfeng felt a mysterious aura that could control the heavens and earth. It was as if he was the embodiment of the heavenly way. It was as if he could break through the sky and ascend at any time. This was close to the peak of the human Tao, the power of a titled sovereign. In other words, Star Emperor's cultivation had reached peak sovereign. The blow looked light, but it contained a myriad of killing intents and billions of divine powers. It was as if it could destroy and crush everything. Dragon quake scripture, quake the heavens, quake the earth, and quake the people. Li Chunfeng roared. Between the heavens and earth, countless divine lights filled the air. The power of the rules of order intertwined and three mysterious real dragons appeared in the void. One contained the heavenly way, one contained the earth way, and the last contained the human Tao. They pounced towards Star Emperor. Dragon quake scripture, Star Ghost divine skill killing form. Star Emperor's eyes revealed a tinge of curiosity as he said nonchalantly. In his blow, there seemed to be darkness being split apart. A blazing saber radiance pierced through the void, bringing with it an infinite amount of deathly aura. Boom. Above the three mysterious real dragons, countless runes of the rules of order were instantly destroyed. Terrifying divine lights exploded like a volcanic eruption. In the end, although the saber radiance was destroyed, Li Chunfeng's dragon quake scripture was completely destroyed. Puff! Li Chunfeng's face turned pale. He spat out a mouthful of blood, and his aura instantly weakened. Even the world that he controlled started to tremble. Nan Tianjue looked as if he was going to break free at any time. The crowd started to worry. Chapter 555. Li Chunfeng, you're dead meat. Nan Tianjue, who was trapped in the world, had an extremely cold look in his eyes. The aura around him was extremely violent, and the aura of a sovereign filled the air with boundless power. The surrounding void trembled violently, and the chaotic mist started to boil. It was as if the heavenly Tao was collapsing, and Nan Tianjue, who was trapped within, wanted to break free. Is that so? Although Li Chunfeng's face was pale, his eyes were extremely calm. Heaven and earth qi filled the air around him, and the heavenly Tao descended. The universe shook, and rays of purple light fell. He had unleashed the myriad geomancy art and purple qi spiritual technique to the maximum. Destroy! Li Chunfeng spat out a word indifferently. The heaven and earth qi and purple qi rushed into the world, and the heavenly Tao in the world collapsed rapidly, and the entire world exploded. Rumble. The sky shattered, and boundless spatial turbulence filled the air. Rays of destructive divine light fell, and collided with the sovereign Tao marks of heavenly God City. Shocking divine light burst out. How terrifying was the power of a world's explosion. With Li Chunfeng's cultivation, the world created by the myriad geomancy art and purple qi spiritual technique wasn't complete, and could even be said to be incomplete. However, it still possessed some of the power of a world. Boundless destructive energy burst out, and the surrounding void was quickly destroyed. Nan Tianjue roared furiously, but his body was torn apart by the divine light. The originally indestructible sovereign body started to turn into nothingness. In just a few moments, Nan Tianjue's body below his neck was completely shattered, and only his head was left. He was struggling violently, trying to escape from the destructive storm. Li Chunfeng, do you really think that I'm not here? At the critical moment, a divine light flashed in Star Sovereign's eyes. He struck out with his palm, and the stars around him shook. Dazzling starlight filled the air, and turned into silver divine chains of order. They instantly rushed towards Nan Tianjue, who was in the destructive storm. Just before Nan Tianjue's head was about to shatter, the divine chains of order blocked the destructive energy and rescued Nan Tianjue. Li Chunfeng, I'm going to make sure that you die without a burial place. Nan Tianjue's eyes were filled with hatred, and his face was ferocious. He knew that the myriad manifestations geomancy art and violet chi psychic art were extremely terrifying, but he hadn't expected them to explode with the power of a world and almost take his life. A single drop of blood from a supreme being could crush a mountain, and a single breath from a supreme being could split open the sky. A supreme being's body contained the supreme divine power of a supreme being expert. South Sky Ju's body was destroyed and he was severely injured. Although he could rely on his divine power to reform his body, it wasn't an easy task. If he wanted to make up for it, he would need at least 100 years of effort. One could imagine the hatred in Nan Tianjue's heart. Li Chuanfeng's face grew paler and paler. Shattering the world and turning it into a destructive storm caused him to suffer a great backlash. He sighed in his heart. If the Star Emperor had not intervened, he would have been able to kill Nan Tianju and take his revenge. Star Emperor, Nan Tianjue and I have a blood feud. As the master of Star Palace, do you really want to get involved in this matter? Li Chunfeng stared at the Star Emperor and said flatly. There was a flash of divine light in Star Emperor's eyes and he said coldly, Li Chunfeng, I don't want to get involved in the matter between you and Nan Tianjue. However, you killed 4 elders from Star Palace. I have to settle the score with you. An elder from Star Palace? Bullying the weak. Shameless. Ungrateful. You deserve to die. Since the Star Emperor wants to reward them, let's do it. Li Chunfeng laughed coldly, and his eyes were filled with disdain. He understood that the so-called reward for the elders of Star Palace was just an excuse. The Star Emperor probably wanted the myriad manifestations geomancy art and violet chi psychic art, just like Nan Tianjue. Star Emperor, kill him. You must have seen the power of the myriad manifestations geomancy art and violet chi psychic art. As long as you kill him, we can share the 2 secret skills. Nan Tianjue said coldly. His body glowed with divine light, and the blood chi filled the air. A new body was formed, but it looked much weaker than before. Brother Nan Tianjue, you're wrong. I'm not after Li Chuanfeng's secret skills. I just want to seek justice for the elders of Star Palace. The Star Emperor said coldly. Hearing the Star Emperor's words, Ling Xiao, the old goat and the rest rolled their eyes and laughed coldly in their hearts. The Star Emperor's words were too hypocritical. If it wasn't for Li Chuanfeng's secret skills, the Star Emperor wouldn't have taken action at all. At the same time, Ling Xiao was worried. Li Chunfeng seemed to be seriously injured. How could he resist the joint attack of the Star Emperor and Nan Tianjue? There was a flash of divine light in Ling Xiao's eyes. He seemed to have thought of something, and there was madness in his eyes. Ling Xiao, are you going to use the exploding dendrobium? The old goat was shocked, and he quickly sent a message to Ling Xiao. That's right. Li Chunfeng saved us, and he was injured because of us. If he can't win, the only thing we can use to injure the Star Emperor and Nan Tianjue is the exploding dendrobium. Ling Xiao sent a message, and there was a tinge of determination and madness in his voice. You're crazy, Ling Xiao. Let's not talk about whether you can get close to the Zhizun. Even if you can get close to the Zhizun and successfully ignite the exploding dendrobium, I don't know if the Zhizun will be killed, but you will definitely be killed. The old goat persuaded him. Don't worry, I have a way. Ling Xiao replied. Rumble. In the void, the Star Emperor was surrounded by starlight, and the big stars were rotating, giving out a bright and mysterious light. Behind Nantianjue, the southern gate stood in the chaos, and there was a surge of purple gas. The two Jizun's divine power spread out, and they were like two divine swords, pressing down on Li Chunfeng from the sky. Die! Li Chunfeng shouted. Light surged in his eyes. The acupoints all over his body seemed to have opened up. Beams of light shot out densely, landing on the ground and shooting up into the sky. It was as if a divine light storm had been set off in an instant. The heaven and earth energy rose, and the purple gas filled the air. Two real dragons, one purple and one yellow, appeared, and they were wrapped in monstrous dragon power. The roar of the dragons shook the sky, and they charged towards the Star Emperor in Nantianjue. Li Chuanfeng's face turned as pale as a sheet of paper, but his eyes were still sharp and his body was still straight. Fighting spirit rose around him as he drove the two swords to fight fiercely with the two supremes. Rumble! The heavens and earth trembled, and a fierce battle broke out. The sky shattered, and divine light danced. The battle continued until the sun and moon dimmed, and the heavens and earth fell into eternal darkness. Chapter 556. Star Sovereign posed the greatest threat to Li Chunfeng. The purple true dragon flew across the void, condensed by the heavenly law. It was powerful, but it was still suppressed by Star Sovereign. Although Nantianjue's Nantian scripture was also powerful, it only had a slight advantage. The profound yellow true dragon drew endless profound yellow earth chi and attacked Nantianjue continuously. Rumble! The battle was too intense. The mountains around Heavenly God City crumbled, and the sky shattered like a mirror. Endless turbulence raged in the void. The Supreme Being's aura exploded, causing everyone to tremble and pale. This was the Supreme Being, a peerless Supreme Being. Everyone below the Supreme Being was just an ant. What shocked everyone the most was Li Chunfeng. He was only a half-step Supreme Being, but he was able to draw the heavenly phenomenon, feng shui, and fight with two Supreme Beings to such an extent. It would not take long for him to become famous. Jianbumi, Chentong, and some other old monsters knew that the feng shui family was famous in the War God continent. Although it was said that they were cursed by the heavens and could not reach the Supreme Being realm, the power of feng shui was so powerful that even a half-step Supreme Being could fight with a Supreme Being. Now that they had witnessed the legend, they were amazed. Ling Zhao's eyes were sharp, and there was a faint golden light around him. The exploding dendrobium appeared in his hand. It looked like an ordinary stone flower, but those who knew about it would know how terrifying it was. Ling Xiao was ready to throw the exploding dendrobium at any time. Even though Star Sovereign and Nantianjue were Supreme Beings, there was a high chance that they would be severely injured or even killed. Li Chunfeng, Star Sovereign, and Nantianjue exchanged a few hundred blows in the blink of an eye, and he was at the end of his rope. Rumble! As the Star Emperor punched the purple real dragon, Nantianjue broke free from the profound yellow dragon, and charged toward Li Chunfeng with a ferocious expression. Li Chunfeng prepared to die. Nantianjue said coldly. He slashed down with his palm, and a blazing saber radiance pierced through the void, exuding a power that could destroy everything. It slashed towards Li Chunfeng. Just as Li Chunfeng was about to be killed by the saber, a huge hand reached out from the sky. Rumble! That hand was sparkling and translucent like jade, flowing with cold moonlight. In an instant, it collided with Nantianjue's palm. A vast amount of extremely cold qi exploded. Nantianjue's expression changed greatly. He was instantly blown back dozens of feet. His face turned pale as he suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. Supreme Great Moon! Star Emperor's expression changed slightly as a sharp light flashed in his eyes. There was also a tinge of fear. Crack! The space shattered, and the resplendent moonlight drifted down. It was as if a full moon had appeared. A woman appeared in the sky. Although her face couldn't be seen clearly, she had a peerless temperament. She was like a goddess from the 9 heavens, ethereal and mysterious. It's actually the Great Moon Sovereign? The master of the Lunar Palace? How is Li Chunfeng related to the Grand Moon Sovereign? Everyone was stunned and confused. Li Chunfeng was about to die. They did not expect the Grand Moon Sovereign to save him. Things were getting more and more complicated. Ling Xiao glanced at the moon god. The moon god smiled faintly and nodded. Ling Xiao understood that the moon god must have invited the Grand Moon Sovereign over. Ling Xiao heaved a sigh of relief. It was naturally the best that the Grand Moon Sovereign was willing to help. Otherwise, he was really going to risk his life with the exploding dendrobium. Star Emperor, for my sake, can you let Li Chunfeng go? A cold and indifferent voice was heard. The woman had a pair of resplendent eyes that seemed to be able to contain the entire sky. She looked at Star Emperor indifferently. Grand Moon, what's your relationship with Li Chunfeng? Li Chunfeng killed 4 elders of the Star Palace. It's impossible for me to let this matter rest. Star Emperor said indifferently, with a tinge of sharpness in his eyes. After hearing the voice of the Grand Moon Sovereign, Li Chunfeng was shocked and there was a tinge of complexity in his eyes. Star Emperor, Li Chunfeng is an old friend of mine. Can you give me some face? As for the elders of the Star Palace that Li Chunfeng killed, I'll compensate on his behalf. The Grand Moon Sovereign said slowly. She was surrounded by moonlight, and there seemed to be a mysterious vision of ascension. Star Emperor, you can't let Li Chunfeng go. He has to die. As long as he's dead, the nature geomancy and purple chi spiritual skill will be ours. Nan Tianjue's expression changed, and he quickly shouted. His eyes were filled with a cold sneer. Who are you? I'm talking to the Star Emperor. Who are you to interrupt? There was a flash of divine light in the eyes of the Grand Moon Sovereign. She slapped and a terrifying supreme divine power exploded. It was as though the entire universe was being compressed in her palm. Nan Tianjue did not have the slightest bit of resistance, and he was sent flying by her slap. What? Everyone trembled, and there was a tinge of disbelief in their eyes. Nan Tianjue was a genuine sovereign expert. He could not even withstand a single blow, and was sent flying by the Grand Moon Sovereign's slap. How strong was the Grand Moon Sovereign? You took that step? The Star Emperor was shocked and his voice became bitter. There was a tinge of shock in his eyes. Originally, although he was afraid of the Grand Moon Sovereign, he still wanted to fight with the Grand Moon Sovereign. However, the aura just now made him feel as if he had fallen into an icy abyss. If the Grand Moon Sovereign had really taken that step, he would have no chance at all. Titled Sovereign. This is the power of a titled sovereign, the pinnacle of the human Tao. I didn't expect the Grand Moon Sovereign to be so strong. The old goat sent a message to Ling Xiao. His voice was filled with admiration and envy. Ling Xiao nodded. The Grand Moon Sovereign had indeed taken that step. Although she had just taken that step, she had already achieved the pinnacle of the human Tao. No wonder she could send Nan Tianjue flying with a slap. A titled sovereign had the power to look down on ordinary sovereigns. Nan Tianjue's condensed body exploded again after he was slapped. He was severely injured and coughed out mouthfuls of blood. After hearing the Star Emperor's words, Nan Tianjue's body trembled. His eyes were filled with disbelief, but he did not dare to say anything else. If a titled sovereign wanted to kill him, it would not be that difficult. The Star Emperor said bitterly, Grand Moon Sovereign, since you insist on protecting Li Chunfeng, I will give you face. However, I hope that you will not interfere in the feud between Li Chunfeng and Nan Tianjue. Alright. Even the Star Emperor did not expect the Grand Moon Sovereign to agree so easily. Thank you, Grand Moon Sovereign. Li Chunfeng looked at the Grand Moon Sovereign in the sky and smiled bitterly. He was a little dazed. He owed her even more. Chapter 557. Li Chunfeng's expression was complicated. He knew that the Grand Moon Sovereign had promised Star Sovereign not to interfere in the feud between him and Nan Tianjue. He wanted Li Chunfeng to kill his enemy personally. Nan Tianjue's expression changed instantly. He had witnessed the power of the myriad geomancy and purple aura spiritual technique. Without Star Sovereign's help, he would have died in Li Chunfeng's hands. However, Nan Tianjue also knew that Star Sovereign would not be able to protect himself now that the Grand Moon Sovereign had taken that step. Li Chunfeng, come on. Let's fight to the death. Nan Tianjue's eyes revealed a hint of madness. A violent aura spread out from his body. Faint flames appeared, accompanied by mysterious Supreme Being symbols. Everyone's expression changed. Nan Tianjue had burned his supreme law. It seemed like he was going to fight to the death with Li Chunfeng. Li Chunfeng was already severely injured. Could he still fight against Nan Tianjue? Li Chuanfeng's eyes were filled with hatred. He said coldly, Nan Tianjue, I'll make you pay with your life for the 53,123 clansmen of my Li family. I won't rest until I'm dead. Rumble. The heavens and earth trembled. Purple aura filled the air and yellow aura rose. Li Chunfeng started burning his life essence. His eyes were filled with tears of blood as he charged towards Nan Tianjue. Li Chunfeng, just you wait. If I could slaughter your Li family 2,000 years ago, I can kill you too. There was a strange look in South Sky Ju's eyes. He actually took the attack of South Sky Ju head-on. Black mist spread around his body, and the void behind him was instantly torn apart. A monstrous giant hand that contained dark and cold devil chi instantly grabbed South Sky Ju and hid in the void. Leave him here. A cold glint flashed in the Grand Moon Sovereign's eyes. He instantly struck out with his palm. Dazzling moonlight streaked across the sky like a vast sword force. Its sharpness was unparalleled. In an instant, it pierced through layers of void space and slashed towards the demonic palm. Rumble. The void exploded violently. The sword aura swept across and turned Nan Tianjue's body into pieces. However, the demonic hand still grabbed Nan Tianjue's head and broke through the sword aura's blockade. It left the place. Kiki. The Supreme Moon Sovereign has actually proven his Tao and obtained a title? Little girl, sooner or later, you will become this king's plaything. A cold and arrogant voice reverberated in the void. This is the power of the Heaven Demon King? Star Emperor's body shook as his eyes revealed a trace of disbelief. He was very familiar with the monstrous devil chi just now. It was the power of the extraterritorial devil. However, he did not expect that not only was Nan Tianjue an extraterritorial devil, he was also taken away by an extraterritorial devil king. You want to leave? It's better for you to stay. The Grand Moon Sovereign's gaze was extremely sharp. He instantly tore through the void and chased after the extraterrestrial demon king. Star Emperor hesitated for a moment before following them. Everyone had the right to kill the extraterrestrial heavenly demons, especially since the Grand Moon Sovereign had already attained the title of Heavenly Demon King. Perhaps he could really make that Heavenly Demon King stay. When that time came, he would also be able to get a share of the loot. Ling Xiao, please take care of Luoluo. South Heaven Ju must die. After I kill South Heaven Ju, I'll look for you. At that time, I'll teach you the Dragon Quake scripture, Myriad Geomancy skill, and Purple Aura spiritual skill. Li Chunfeng quickly transmitted his voice to Ling Xiao. His eyes revealed a trace of cold killing intent. Don't worry, I'll take good care of Luoluo. Ling Xiao nodded. He knew that after being tortured by hatred for 2,000 years, Li Chunfeng would not let Nan Tianjue go. The purple aura in the void flashed and turned into a purple dragon. Li Chunfeng stood on the purple dragon and tore through the void in an instant as he chased after Nan Tianjue. This sudden turn of events shocked everyone. No one had expected that the family head of the Nantian family, Nan Tianjue, would be an extraterritorial devil. Moreover, he was rescued by the extraterritorial devil king. As for the people of the Nantian family, they looked as though they had just died. Their eyes were filled with fear. Previously, they had been arrogant and despotic because they relied on Nan Tianjue. Now that Nan Tianjue had turned into an extraterritorial devil, and became a devil that everyone in the War God continent wanted to kill, the Nantian family would not be far from destruction. Some of the people of the Nantian family even prepared to leave quietly. Trying to run? Don't let them run away. There must be many extraterritorial devils in the Nantian family. Keep them under strict surveillance. No wonder the Nantian family is so arrogant. They actually dared to collude with the extraterritorial devil. The crowd was filled with righteous indignation. They immediately rushed forward and began to beat up the people of the Nantian family. Among them, there were people who hated the extraterritorial devil. However, there were more who wanted to take advantage of the situation. One should know that the Southern Sky House had opened branches all over the War God continent and accumulated endless wealth. Although it was not as rich as the precious treasure pavilion, it was still as rich as a country. Some people began to rush towards the southern sky house, preparing to rob it of everything. The extraterritorial Devil King has appeared? Is the calamity from 10,000 years ago going to happen again? A group of old monsters led by Chen Tong and Jian Unmai revealed an incomparably worried expression. The extraterritorial Devil King was a peerless devil comparable to a titled supreme being. His ferocious might overflowed the heavens. 10,000 years ago, he had caused a boundless calamity. The war god continent had gone through 10,000 years of cultivation, but there were still very few top-notch experts. Even supreme beings could be counted with one's fingers, not to mention the titled supreme beings whose might shook the ages and swept through the heavens. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed with a sharp light. A sense of urgency rose in his heart. If the extraterritorial devil really caused another calamity, without the cultivation of a supreme being, how could he protect himself and the people he cared about in this chaotic world? In the face of a calamity, those below the supreme being realm were all ants. Even supreme beings were in danger of dying. Old Goat, Taoist Wuliang, let's leave Heavenly God City and head for Gemini Mountain. Ling Xiao made up his mind and decided to leave immediately. Good, the extraterritorial Devil King has appeared. It seems like the war god continent is going to be chaotic again. We must quickly recover our cultivation. Let's go to Gemini Mountain to look for Jin Se, but don't get your hopes up. The old goat and Taoist Wuliang glanced at Ling Xiao worriedly. Don't worry. It's my fortune if I get it, but it's my fate if I don't. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. A trace of anticipation appeared in his eyes as he looked in the direction of Gemini Mountain. Ling Xiao bid farewell to the moon goddess and brought Luoluo over. I have to rush back to the lunar palace as well. I won't come out of seclusion until I break through to the monarch realm. You have to be careful. South Sky's In's identity has been exposed. He'll probably act even more fearlessly. Star Emperor isn't simple either. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.